Agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's Everything Agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's Everything Agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's Everything Agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's Everything Agriculture.
Got a green thumb? It's time to start growing smarter. If you ever wanted to learn more about farming, Shabazz Organics, located at Mansa's Last Stop, is hosting workshops on the last Saturday of each month. Starting October 26th, prepare to expand your gardening capacity. Whether it's your homestead or a commercial business venture, we offer classes catered to your most urgent growing needs. Topics to be covered include composting basics to pro tips, turn waste into rich soil, water-wise irrigation, simple solutions for every grower. Classes are only once a month, so don't miss out on a chance to learn. Book now.
Yes, and good evening, and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show. I'm your host, Banky. It's another Friday evening. Sorry for the late start. Just some little, not really technical difficulties, but we are all running late sometimes, but at least better late than never. So appreciate you guys sticking with us. Yasin would come in a little later when he finish up doing what he's doing. Timing kind of mystic right now. It's winter time, but it seems like the summertime coming in, the long days coming in, so this sun is still up for a long time. So still a little later on the farm and a lot of little run around. So sorry about the little tardiness and lateness, as I said. So but appreciate you guys sticking with us. Spread the word, share the link that everything agriculture is on. So we have talking about a few different topics and what some of the workshops that will be coming up for this month and the special guests. So good evening to the folks listening in the Federation of Orly and Liamega. We gotta always remember the name of the ancient, which is us, and I always call it, which those who don't know, which is the original name for both islands. Think it's and Nevis, fertile land and beautiful waters. Good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands, Sabre, Statia, Saint Bart, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, the BVI, the folks over in Montserrat, Antigua, and Barbuda, also folks over in Bermuda who also listen to the show. Greatly appreciated. It's such a small island, but over 50% of the population is of Nevisian descent and Sinkers descent, so that's a beautiful thing. You mean our people went there and populate the island? But here, we do increase the population. That's a strange one. Let me say good evening to the folks also in the diaspora, North America, right up to Canada, Boston, come down to New York, Atlanta, Chicago, down to the Florida Keys, the folks over in Texas, and wherever you're at to the sound of my voice, whichever appropriate, good morning, good afternoon, and also the folks over in Europe, as far as Africa, England, and our students who are studying in Costa Rica. So I want to encourage the young people in high school, in primary school, take their sciences serious, because This is what determines the future, which is now, and the way forward at all time for your existence. Has always been the key for our survival, but somehow we lost ourselves and move away to other professions are more important than food. But the reality is, food is the most important and sacred task that anyone can handle or deal with, because you really got to protect the environment in a positive way and make sure once you give people putting something into the body, it is grown in a safe, because you never want to make anyone sick by feeding them something. So you got to do it with the right. You only want to do things the right way, and you can't force a plant to go fast and how it is, because I mean you're adding something that don't make no sense, which means you're gonna anything you overuse gonna be a bad thing. So you can't force the plant. You just have to have patience, and everything will work itself out. I was supposed to have a guest this evening, but I'm not sure that's not gonna happen this evening again. So I'm just waiting on Yasin, but either way the show gonna continue. Also coming up this month, we have a guest with Shabazz Organics. We have Quincy Bart. We'll be talking about pest and disease management, and also the right use of your PPE, which is your personal protective equipment. Because farmers those who tend to spray and use different type of pesticide, whether it's biological or so its name, you still can affect someone within the environment. It can affect you because of its smell, called natural stuff. They put them to soap, motion, different stuff, smell real bad. But it does the job. Organic stuff tend to smell real bad at times. So putting on the protective gears is the right thing to do. And Mr. Bat is a specialist when it comes to pest and disease. He run the quarantine unit at the agriculture department, and he's one of those persons who really goes by the books and take his job very serious. That's one thing I can say about him. Very professional. So he'll do one partnering to host this particular workshop. I could have done the workshop, but I'm not about me. I'm an inclusive person who love to involve different people, different technicians, different specialists when it comes to different topics. I'll have one also on business. So I'll bring in someone into accounting who specialize in that and can speak on different issues and from social security and when it comes to business and all the different stuff like that. And someone in marketing. So I have a few workshops lining up. So definitely it's only $40, and I want to encourage anyone, any agriculturalist enthusiasts who have the idea or the will to take up the challenge and start to planting some of their food, attend this workshop, because you're going to improve your farming skills or gardening skills or landscaping skills. Even if you're into flowers, the same rules apply, because pest is a part of the natural environment. We will get fungus, you'll get bacteria, you'll get nematodes, you'll get mites, you'll get mealybugs, you'll get all kind of different pests. So it's all about how you go about controlling your pest and thinking about your neighbor, as you could be you will even have, depending on where you're at, you might have neighbors, but at the same time, if you're going to be spraying, if you have to spray, because spraying is always the last option. Okay, if you monitor enough, monitor, you don't have to spray. But if you're not monitoring and then you come with infestation, then you're forced to spray, and then you have to make a decision. What would you spray or what would you use if you, to keep off these pests, or depending on how bad it is, if you would abandon the crop. So there are different decisions would have to be made. Plus, right now we're getting a lot of rain since midweek on and off. So these kind of times you have to monitor the environment, because then you might see more butterflies, which means you can get more worm. Then you monitor if you have, depending on the technique you use, if you see those white egrets come along, you mean then they're gonna help with the worm, eating up the worm. So you might not even have to spray. So it just to show you. And these are techniques I use, and because I don't use herbicide, so on the farm I just use a weed whacker to cut through the grass and the furrows on the flat area, and then I go back and just plant, and it works fine for me. Yeah, so you think the opposite way, so put it back how it was. Yeah, just like no, the other way, you're going right one again. Center. You did no, you're going upside down again. You're just sideways. Right there.
This guy talk.
Yes,
I'm talk
perfect.
about myself.
All right, no problem. Yes, so also how to make, I can talk about this one. I'd made some link with Indonesia in Padang, at Padang, the university that I was there, did some training early up in this year, and a coconut workshop along with matter of fact, this is the shirt. I just see right here. You have the big house, and then you have the other one where they store the rice and stuff in. And so this was one of the participants, the workshop that was given to me. So I made some link with Dr. Esther Edouard, and she told about my ideas when it comes to agro processing as a value added when it comes to jams, when it's coconut oil, soap making, candle making. I realized our people have become a lot interested when it comes to making a lot of their natural cosmetics, whether it is soaps and different oils and repellents and all this different stuff. And also teas, drying of teas and making local drinks and all this different stuff. So she liked the idea, and she had take it back to the board and find funding from a non-NGO that will fund this workshop on an online workshop will be broken down to different parts, because it's one thing I must say about Atipadang. Once you're doing a workshop, it's come with business planned. You have to do your labeling, teach you all these different stuff, how to on the computer, how to make just a full comprehensive workshop, and one of these workshops. So it is free. So anyone who will be interested in this workshop, hopefully it's between May and June. So definitely anyone who is interested in this workshop, just contact me. I'll add your name down, and when the time comes to share the link to apply to deal with this workshop, then everything will be sent to you and stuff like that. So as much people can partake in this workshop. Also, they were so happy about when they approved the workshop. They asked me if I would have any issue. They had a suggestion if to other Caribbean countries could also join and partake in this workshop, and I gladly approve and let them know. Of course, the more people can get training in this field, and yes, and always talking about value added, and also I would let them know if machineries and stuff like that could also be funded and be sent also when it comes to the training, and what will also benefit the participant in the future, where I can have them in an area and they can have them to use and stuff like that. That also can go, that also is now taken into consideration and so forth. So definitely I'm happy about the approval, and they're looking to partner with Shabazz Organics and to helping the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and the people of Ole and Liamega, because you cannot training is something I believe in strongly. And like other I have some other friends who in different profession, and one thing they speak about is training. You don't actually all have to be some PhD or masters and all these things, because is we build all the structures around here. Our ancestors are us, is we build, and then they never had all this. But what they have is a sacred knowledge. The more the best contractors around here don't have no, and architects and stuff, they went nowhere. And the building is still standing up. So we got to move away from this culture where, because somebody went for training and they come back with a bachelor's or a master's or all these things, those who are there, and them who come out, those who are there, I don't want them to train them who come back with a master's and PhD. Nothing is wrong with it, but you got to earn it. Once you have something, you have to earn it. You see what I mean? You got to go out there and do the physical work now. Those who have put in the work for over 20, 30, 40 years, they don't put in their work, you know. You can't take that experience out of it. You see what I mean? And that is something you can't take away. And right now, I mean, the evidence is there at Indian Castle. You put somebody there with a bachelor's, somebody who is supposed to be the head chief of all the extension officers, and yet they're failing. So how you're gonna make an excuse for this now? No one can touch the topic, because that is the reality. Experience power over everything, and that's just it. If you're not hands-on and committed, no matter how all the degrees and all the theory you have in your head, the environment every day is different. You're gonna find different challenges every day. And not today is the same. So unless you're within that environment every day and commitment and observing this environment, it ain't gonna work, because we ain't smarter than nature itself, if you want to put it that way. And if you want to understand we're part of nature, and make the observation every day and do it in a positive way, because everything is done existing when they say you're not gonna do it the right way. And when you don't mash it up, then you just can't work and the same land no more because then you damage it. Remember you have to ask keep protecting the soil. That's the key about it when it comes to farming. You gotta always protect the soil. So also I communicated with the one who work in the agro processing environment and to hear some feedback what they would want within the training area and stuff like that. So labeling and dates when it comes to expiration and how to preserve the food for and post harvest and pre harvest. All these will be a part of the topic. Not because you're into value added, that does so it means that the food that you're gonna have should be of good quality and not bruised and waiting to spoil, and then you want to use the food to make your product. So quality and all that is a big part of would be a big part of the discussion and the workshop and stuff like that. Yes, son.
Yeah, it's nice to hear all of that. Greetings, everybody. Sorry to be a bit late, but they say better late than never. It's it's always a pleasure to be here on another edition of Everything Agriculture. Um, it's always important for us to zoom in on food security and food sovereignty, as a matter of fact. Um, it is quite interesting to hear the argument, at least that I came in and when you were presenting in regard to those who may have the qualifications on paper versus those who may just have the work experience and may not necessarily have the qualifications on paper. That is something that is a topical issue that is not so much being brought to the fore. I would have heard sometime back a couple of weeks or maybe months ago a similar discussion on Let's Talk. That
Mm-hmm.
was one of the things that was discussed on the program. So it is something that is being noticed, but I don't think it is brought to the light as much as possible. It is sad, however, and you're a perfect example of that. You have experienced that and suffered as a result of that. The fact that you would have demonstrated, and it's not even in a case where it is not visible, people are able to see that, Shabazz was able to manage that 40-acre plot over there at Indian Castle. That was quite interesting. That was and is quite an interesting feat because a lot of people would have thought that nothing could have been going down on that side. So it's not even just
Yes.
you managing a 40-acre plot, but you're managing a plot that everybody thought would have been a failure, would have not been a success. And you were able to, with only 6 people employed along with you, bring that to be the talk, the the marketing strategy for the government and Nevis, where that was what they were using during COVID and even after COVID to demonstrate that yes,
Yes.
they're serious about food security and this is what we're doing.
Of
And
course.
you had the region, you had Syndicate watching, you had the
Mm-hmm.
region watching, you had the world watching on a whole, watching what this
Yes.
little island is doing. And with a man
Definitely.
who now is does not have the degrees that some of these people have. And you have been removed and they have replaced you with someone who have those degrees which they are looking for. And there's no success to match anything close to what the man, the individual without the degree would have been doing. And so you have perfect examples like that happening in our scenario. And I think that in itself should help people to get back to, as you said, that point where even with the leadership, because apart from just the folks who are in various positions in the government, it seems as if this is a trend that is pushing through even to those who are elected to lead us. And that was not necessarily the idea of leadership in the past, and it certainly shouldn't be something that we should want to adhere to and use as a yardstick to have people elected to represent us, because they're people who might not necessarily be as qualified or as educated, but in terms of leadership and being able to lead, whether it's a business, whether it's an organization, whether it's a country, because they're perfect examples of leaders of the past and people who are still recognized as some of the top leaders in the world, and they did not have any serious qualifications. And for example, Bacha
Yes, son.
and Sinkit. Yes, sir.
Yep. When Mr. Jeffers was the Minister of Agriculture, he made the same minister who had the lowest experience in crop management also and paper. He only have an associate. You understand? And he's not in crops or anything like that. It's communication. So Mr. Jeffers put him there because I guess of age and whatever. I mean, no. I mean, I don't know. But he make him the PS, right? Over them who have masters and bachelors and all kind of other degrees. And then it still become then the leader of the country still put him there to become, you see what I mean, a candidate, right? So it's obviously you have not to do with paper, you have to do with bad mind. So let's keep it as bad mind. And as you realize how much people live in the agriculture department since that, and all who have left is because of experience and just because they don't want to give them extra 1 cent. So it shows that the people within the agriculture department are standing up and then they still calling back the same people them who leave, asking them for assistance. So how could you bad mind people when had reached the highest pinnacle with the lowest degree in the department, but yet you bad minding everybody else? It's a shame when we have people like this and put them up, you know what I mean, to elect our people as I'm gonna give an impression and smile in people's face and whatever, but at the same time, behind you just being blatantly bad minded. Because they still offer me the same position a year later in his office. I don't want it. Because I mean, I have no issue with money in the Virgin because I understand what the currency is and the root of these things. Because the most important thing, my Virgin, is my food. You go take your money and put it in a pot and cook it up, salad, pan, salad dressing, curry it down, straight down, do it all kind of way and full of belly. Me no nourishing. So I'm not one of those person who ever did argue with people over money and all this. And they're all kind of people for my money. Here in Navis, in Monstrat, money for my food, I don't worry about it because I go now as a plant food, because I got less over plant food. You see what I mean? So these things, I'm not one of those who gonna bow. I'm not gonna bow to no man. In our work, ever
Yeah,
work.
I understand.
Because,
I understand that, Bank,
yes.
and I understand that. The thing is, I wasn't really necessarily looking to personalize it. I was just looking at generally, like as I say, you
Well,
go back to
it's a personal thing, yes, son, because that's the reality about it. It's just
I know, but I'm
personal
just
because
saying what I'm saying.
ministers,
No, but what I'm saying in terms of the issue
yes.
itself, where seemingly
Let me,
there's
yes,
there's this there's this trend where if you are
yes,
not qualified on
yes,
paper, you are seemingly not looked upon for whether it's promotion within the government, or even as we're talking
yes,
about leadership, that if that is pushing through the civil service, then it would also be a yardstick that would probably look to be measured for those who are elected to represent us. So it is also important for us to highlight the fact that history has shown
of
that
course.
many of those who represented us before didn't have these qualifications on paper. And history also has shown that they would have been some of the very best and top leaders of the past. And so there's no need for us to try to walk down that road. And I'm still not at the same time trying to
Yes,
belittle anybody who went out of the way to
of course
um,
not.
educate themselves and be successful with whatever degrees either. However, the reality is um, sometimes those degrees might help you to be skillful in whatever area you're trained in, but not necessarily in leadership and or being able to manage effectively project. So that is where I was going. So I was just, even though I know you have personal examples that you could give, I was just trying to get it
Of
out
course,
so that it is not necessarily personalized, that it is just the
of course.
reality of what we are dealing with. And the fact that it is
Well, this
something that
well,
it's not just us who is mentioning it. As I said, I would have heard the discussion on Let's Talk and a prayer conversation sometime in the past. So it is something that we're looking at, and it is something that we should continue to pay attention to, and especially in the field of agriculture. Um, we prove that many times. There are many people who are out there farming, ain't got no degree, ain't went out to do no studies and so on, and have the information and the skills and the experience that would make many of these people who went out to get their qualifications look like fools. So
but
we
yes, and
are totally aware
why,
agriculture proves
but
that.
yes, but this have nothing to do with agriculture itself. This just have general within the banking system, with the community. I mean, just most places, the hotel, whatever it is, the people who are there at the top. Then when once it's training in a virgin, going to school, when they going to university, is training again for the same. It's training, or when they get training in there by someone who have the knowledge and pass it on to, is training. It's the same thing. Just because you pay for your one and somebody doesn't pay for their one, you see what I mean? If your father, who is a truck driver, taught you, teach you to drive a truck, and give you all the rules and all the different stuff, and a man who went to school, well, at the same truck you drive, virgin, but at the same time, this thing that he teach you hands on, you might not get taught in the same school if you pay money for, That's something they're gonna show you inside there. He's gonna show you certain tricks that have maybe passed on generation from his fatherhood, probably was a truck driver, just in case this and you see what I mean? It's just different stuff. You just gonna you have a little, is your experience, is what out there being around people and talking to different people and to find different techniques and doing different stuff. So I don't know if I'm when we reach a point that we have become an elitist kind of society where it's just, I don't know. I mean, I ain't trying to figure out things either, because these same people who work on these ministers kind of went nowhere. You see what I mean? The same one who painted the house went nowhere. So when you start separating things, be virgin, you got to go right down the road. The same man who drive the truck them and they carry all these big stand and all this, where they went. So you just, when you started um labeling stuff within a society, it don't make no sense. It just don't make no sense. You see what I mean? Because then you open up a rabbit hole. It really don't. But anyway, that is that. But I
Yeah, that
also
that, that is,
realize, yes, but I want to comment too, because I remember last week I spoke about the film I had talk about sheep and goat eating up the grass at the Mondo track. But presently still Indian cattle is still going down the drain, and they have, this is the last chance for them to get it back in order, because the trees have been so stressed for key and all these different and stuff like that. But then I guess there is a was on both radio stations and of Miss Bartlett and the different both parties going back and forth with each other with the charade, because men into the charade with this thing, and you understand, the, we want to call it, hyping up the each of them supporters and kind of like, I see things for what it is, and think for myself. Well, how come none of the parties I'm talking about Indian castle, since all of them so care about food? Well, how come none of them comment about it? All the specialists. Because Indian castle was put in place as a food security for Sinkits and navies, with the traditional fruit, soursop, sugar apple, strawberry, all the different varieties of banana, sugar cane, and pali mango, the people are going crazy for today. Over, don't have more than what? Almost 30 to 50, 75 pali mango trees growing beautifully. You only add into the dead, and these people love some pali mango. But who got 100 pali mango tree plant? When you almost got 100 down the plant and you let them dead. So these are the things I want us to know. If the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and the whole world who've been a part and partake in Indian Castle every quarter having a function down there, is Easter. They have the Mango Festival. They have what do you call it, in October, World Food Day, all these different events and family fun days and all the schools and stuff like that. If they're going to sit aside, that this is going to determine how the universe works around each and every one of us. If you let 40 acres of food that is being fruiting, have been putting money into the consolidated fund that have been used to help the schools and everything else around us, pay taxes and stuff like that, take care of the hospital because money was being put into the consolidated fund. The place was producing. It was the number one producing estate, our farm within the federation. It was not my farm, it was the people's farm. They used to call it banky place, but not my farm. I always correct the people. I do it for you the people. Bring traffic in Hanley's Road in Gingeland area. So why no one, all of a sudden, I'm not the no one talking about it, what? The department have no one committed. No one committed. Okay. Well, we will see how the whole cabinet, because I just spoke to the director this week, and he knows how I feel, and I know he hands are tied because other people is involved in this thing. I don't understand how you can have a professionalism environment like food on a whole, and you have the ministers and managers playing food where workers are just getting paid and not even working. I don't understand stuff like that. It's just today. I went somewhere to make a stop to buy something coming home, and a lady telling me, I hope the lady there by the farm where I set up for Miss Solomon the pennies. The lady telling me she hope the lady see me and bless me and give me some money. Oh my God, she plays all the banana cheese and how to look and all these things. I laugh. I say, yeah, that's serious. I've done my job. You understand? And that is what the intention was. Make them make money. So the public is talking how the environment there is look. And if you compare with that and you go back to Indian Castle and you come where I'm at Shabba's Organics at Mansell's last stop, you'll see the difference. So it shows that if you have a staff at an environment working and they're not and getting paid and not working and working weekends, it is not right. And somebody need to be accountable. So the way forward is accountability and the whole cabinet, because the premier know what is going on, but the premier can't tell his deputy anything. It's obviously the
I mean, he
Minister of
can't.
Communication, the Minister of huh?
How many can't tell
What?
you anything? What do you mean he can't tell you
Well, I mean,
anything?
well, nobody commenting, not even the Minister of Education, where the schools, the last time the school, when I was there, the schools, them had the teachers, them had the whole celebration with tents, about 5 tents, music, DJs, luncheon, with the peers, Mr. Barrett and staff, hundreds of teachers. I'm not making up these things. So why no one
That
speaking? Huh? Yes.
because
Uh-huh. Yes.
as was mentioned in the budget, they plan to set up
Uh-huh.
start phase 2. So
Yes.
all the talking now, they're gonna make it feel and seem as if this is a waste of
That
time
never
because
happened.
by the time the camels
That never
start
happened. I
rolling
bet you
and
a dollar.
they start cleaning up
I bet
down
you a dollar
at the
that
second
will happen.
phase and they start doing all these things to make the people them
And
feel
I go
as if,
walk.
well, you
Yes,
see,
son.
here's the thing, Banky. Here's the thing, right?
Yes.
I am in some respect siding with you to some extent. However, when I
Mm-hmm.
look at what I see happening on the ground, then there's another
Yes.
reality because you are going to say that how this narrow work and in all reality in a
Yes.
society where people are thinking rationally and are really
Mm-hmm.
holding their leaders accountable and doing what they should do, then these people shouldn't be re-elected. But however, you find that still,
Yes.
even though these things are happening, and even though we might be pointing out these things, at the end of the day, these things that I said that they are going to do in terms of
Mm-hmm.
bringing out the cameras and saying that they're going to do this and going to do this and bring on a big show and all that, you might say that it's not going to work, but it works for them because at the end of the day, after they do these things, and remember, it's only a couple next year to um, election is around the corner, and so which means you don't know
Yes.
in the next year or two is when they're gonna start to do things. And so this is it's just like the pattern, but it works. So when things start happening in the next year or two, even if they don't finish after the election, it would have
Mm-hmm.
served the purpose of showing the people, especially the people out there in the diaspora who they're mostly appealing to, because people on the
Yes.
ground might know a different story. However, when they appeal to those who are out in the diaspora and they show them all these things that's happening and all this and all that, then it works. So,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, uh,
Even before they start talking about food security, when I take on the project, that was my intent when I tell the peers. Agro processing always need supplies. Plus, the schools them always need supplies. So I was thinking way ahead before. Even though about when there was this thing coming about 2025 agenda. This is the way I was thinking all the time. This is what I was telling agro processing over the years and directors and them who've been there all the time. That unit need because they go to the general public to buy stuff, and there are times they can't get nothing at all, at all, at all. So then they supply the supermarket and the hoteliers and all in different areas because when making the jam and the soup and different stuff and general public, you see what I mean? So it mean they need an area where they could have stuff for them and then the general public also would have stuff for themselves, but at the same time, where it is a for food security, Virgin. It's food cheese you're talking about, coconut cheese. We have an industry where we have our young men and other female importing coconut jellies for sell jelly water and stuff like that for years. And we've not been thinking about planting any. You see what I mean? Certain farmers might choose to plant a few cheese and stuff like that. But these are stuff I've been encouraging people to do because if you keep your money in your country and you know you grow these fruit and different stuff, it mean when you harvest them, they're fresh. So your people are being getting fresh food, you know what I mean, with a more higher nutritional content and all this different stuff, and plus at a cheaper price, the prices can come down too. It's not importing and all this stuff, and then you reduce the risk of bringing in disease into your country and all this different stuff. So you really got to look at these things. So how can you establish these things, use these things over and over? You understand? For 3 years, Indian Castle, Abattoir, Indian Castle, Abattoir. So here we're going on now. So it's Indian Castle not talk about. I expect the next talking going to come up is just the Abattoir alone. Trust me, your son.
Banky, here, and these are some of the things that I guess our people on a whole need to really
Yeah.
be paying attention to. So as you're just pointing out, Indian Castle and the Abattoir. No, you have a ministry, you have a budget, you are injecting X amount of $1 million into this ministry or into this department every year. You should be looking forward to, or you should be planning to see some returns on the investment that you have made. And so those outlets that you're pointing out, whether it's the Abattoir, whether it's the Indian Castle and the other farms or estates that are operational under the government, and also the agro-processing sector, should be areas of utmost importance for the ministry because those are the areas that they can get revenue, they can show returns on the investments that we, the taxpayers, would have made in that um, area, agriculture. So for them not to zoom in on agro processing and seeking to empower the farmers, because that's another way that you can empower the farmers as well. Because if you're processing more, then there would be more of a demand for the raw materials. And then you could be in a position where you could have the farmers growing and don't have to worry about anything because here is it that you'll be able to take it from them. So even if they have their outside markets and so on, at least they know if they have a surplus that marketing is there, the agro processing is there, that they can take their surplus, whether for whatever it is. And also an opportunity for the backyard gardeners, the folks who might just have their fruit trees in their yard. And they can also be a part of the food security and food sovereignty push and so on. So these are things that they should be able to see and seek to do. I must give kudos to the Abattoir, Gary, and the folks there, and the tremendous job that they have been doing. This also
Yes.
means for them to improve that area and be more productive in that area. It also means that a bit more emphasis would need to be placed on the livestock farmers, and taking time to see and demonstrate and get them to start to think more of that as a business versus as just subsistence, where it is just something that they do, when they get broke, because they still have maybe their regular job, but when things get
Of
hard,
course.
they might sell a sheep or two. To change that to having a system where you are growing or raising your animals with the intent to be able to sell a certain amount every month,
Yes.
that you'll be, getting your returns, and you're restocking your flock and upgrading your breeds and things like that and so on, so that you could have, whether it's more carcass, or if you're raising it for the milk. Well, we don't have a lot of that going on because we don't have any dairy industries, taking place
Hmm.
here. So these are other things that we can look into as well. Um, the chicken, we're not really hearing much about chickens, and there's a lot of young people who are seeking to get themselves, involved. I was just talking to a cousin of mine there a couple weeks ago. I didn't even realize that he was back into that. Devon Pemberton over there in Fountain.
Yeah, man.
He
Definitely.
took up the egg farm over there where his, I think it was his uncle or his great uncle, Cooleyman, my godfather. He used to have an egg farm
Hmm.
over on that side. I think Devon now is really, operating in that
Right.
space. And, young people like these, they need the motivation, they need the inspiration. And when you're going to have leadership where you you claim to be seeking to improve that industry, and then you buy a machine and put it to sit down, and then we're not hearing anything about the poultry industry, while think it was way behind you, and think it has already set up their hatchery, and things are operational. It really, and at the same time, we're not hearing anything from the minister or the ministry in regards to these things. But as you mentioned earlier, whatever
Uh-huh.
the issue with Miss Pat Bartlett, the whole team was able to weigh in. I mean, I was listening to Andy Marks a couple of nights ago, and I mean, each one of the ministers calling to talk about that. And I was saying to myself, um, I wish we could have that sort of togetherness and reaching out from these ministers in relation to what they're doing in their specific ministries, not just when they think something is there to talk about, to come and talk about. We are not hearing from the Minister of Health. There's only one person we really hear from in the NIA. We hear from the Premier, who has his press conference. So, but then again, and this is why I sometimes, don't necessarily talk too much, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the people. Because if the people are not
Hmm.
demanding these things, if you hire
Yes.
some people to work for you, you elect them, your taxes are paying them, and you could sit back and allow them to work uh, where you don't know if they're working, because you really don't know what they're doing if they're not reporting to you for over 2 years, going on to 3 years now, and none can find time to say, well, okay, let's have a cabinet meeting and let's bring in the press and let's have them, whether it's every quarter, every twice a year, or whatever it is, that we come to the public who are paying us and let them know what we are doing, where we are, what are some of the setbacks, and why we haven't accomplished X, or Y, or Z. We only hear from the premier.
Hmm.
That is allowed. That is allowed by the people. So it's the people in a lot of the cases sometimes. That's why I have personally have started to shift my frustrations from the politicians to the masses, because the politicians will do what politicians do. And if they could get away with it, if they can play the game, play the reverse psychology and play their role and play it effectively, then they will win. If the masses now don't play their role, which is holding them accountable, which is checking what they're doing, which is demanding that they come to you for accountability, then we can't really
Yes,
complain.
son. The reason why I will continue to, I have to get right because I walk around the whole, when you walk the Taiwanese ambassador around 40 acres with his whole team and the whole cabinet, can make sure I walk them, walk them right round so they see it, and all them, if me asking, and all them want to know, well, how do you get this done with such little stuff? And the answer remained the same to all the thousands who come there. Treat people with respect and and be inclusive. That's all it is. It's just simple as that. I want to make people part of something and they be a part of the decision making. And sometimes it's not about it's just the best idea and the simplest man would have the best ideas. And if it makes sense, it makes sense. And then once everybody's a part of something, you'll see how they work together, have fun, and it just get done. So it's not about, and that a place is 1 acre is 2 workers, eh? And the technical stuff, everybody know is the ratio is 1 acre to 2 workers. So they could do the math. So you see the place was very, very, very understaffed. So if you're bringing anybody else with poor management skills and not respecting people, you're speaking to them with tone and all this stuff and make sure they have the resources to work and all these things. You're not gonna if I'm going in a place and you have toiletries stack up, you have everything that you want, your gears always there, everything is always there. You have water there, ice with the cool and whatever it want. And anybody that's coming after and not gonna be there, open the gate, spend 1 minute there for months. What is gonna happen? Remember, 2025 agenda, Indian Castle along with the Abattoir and other greenhouses was used a part of the way forward. St. Kitts is moving forward with greenhouse villages, with free water tanks, free fencing wire, free fencing poles, free drip lines, thousands and thousands, nearly 100,000 planting. Same thing with the same pineapples and all these and the resources. People from navies have been calling down the farm sinking and getting resources because of passing on the information. Because the resources, both for St. Kitts navies, homeowners, everybody's a part, is all hands on deck on this 2025 agenda, This have nothing to do with not one individual, This is not an individual thing. It's all hands on deck. Whoever wants resources will get resources. All the department and the ministry them had to do is send down a list. So I need the general public to ask the Department of Agriculture, the ministry, and the Agriculture Minister, which is the Premier, I'm addressing, where is the list up to present this time? The material and basically finished is last week. I get over some drip line for about 6 farmers, 7 farmers. You see what I mean, your son? Who's seeking help, but yet the department can't talk about these things. You want to tell the farmers to go over to a fencing place and get a discount when you all have to send on a list and say you want 10 drip line, 4 roll of wire, and they come over and wait to you on a flatbed and you just give them to give you shows. So this don't make no sense to me. This is 2025, So which way we going? To 2030?
I really don't understand because it's a couple of weeks now that we are here
Yes.
and saying the same thing that the federal ministry would have brought in equipment for farmers, for the federal for farmers in the federation to benefit from, not just farmers and St.
Yes.
Kitts. And
Yes.
you would have mentioned some time back that all that was needed was a list. I think last week you said that a list was eventually sent, but it was sent a bit too late because by the time they sent, a lot of the things that they would have had prior would have already been utilized and given out to other farmers. Now,
A phone. I don't think it's a list. I think it's a phone call. And now there's a new well, not really a new the assistant PS and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what a phone call. I'm not sure if they're sending a list, but seeking information and then finding out. You know what I mean? Resources is basically is not there as I mean the beginning when you ask. You see what I mean? But it is sad. So them
Yeah,
was there
that's
and
really sad. And it's sad on one side,
yes,
and also demonstrating that you're not necessarily serious about food security and nevis. Because
yes.
if you're really serious and you had an opportunity like that for your farmers to benefit from something free, and you from the ministry side where you are in the position to do that and you aim at the effort, then you're demonstrating that you are really not so serious. And then to be telling farmers, as you're saying, no, that instead of reaching out to the federal government where they could have gotten free fencing wire, you're recommending that they go to this place where they can get a discounted um, price for wires
Mm-hmm.
that they could have gotten free if you would have only taken the effort to reach out to your counterparts and syndicate. That is not good enough. That is not acceptable. That is definitely not good enough. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, as we talk about these things, and I mean, I sometimes do, as I do my work here throughout the day and whatever I'm doing, I'm sometimes logged into many of these different talk shows on the island, whether it's on Nevis or whether it's on St. Kitts. I do pay attention to what's going on. And then I have not heard any conversation in regards to agriculture, especially where Nevis is concerned. I've not heard anything in regards to Indian castle and some of the things that we would have brought to the fore here. And if they're not addressed, then it means that somewhere along the line, we are going to continue to just be at the bottom where this 25 by 25 is concerned. And apart from the 25 by 25, just overall food security. And if our people and navies are not concerned about the fact that if we get bad weather, or if another war breaks
Mm-hmm.
out, and both are unable to dock in, like at some points during the COVID and so on, um, then we can't eat. And you are not concerned about that. That is not something that is of utmost importance to you at this point. But I really don't know what to say. So if you could allow your agricultural minister at this point, where food security is of utmost importance, to get away with these kind of things without even being called out, without being asked to come to the public to address these issues, then that's what I'm saying, Banky. I really don't know because it comes down to the people. And if the people are not necessarily going to have this outcry, then it is going to be deemed that, well, it is okay and that's what they want. So,
Yeah,
I
son.
mean,
This
what we
have
can do,
none this
like I
yes.
said, what more thing? We have to make the effort to
Mm-hmm.
try to bring the minister on the program. If the minister is not going to come, then let's see if we could get the premier.
Yep.
As you say, you have him as the minister. So let's get the premier.
No,
So
we'll deal with the
and then
premier.
if he chooses to bring the minister of agriculture, call him in, or bring whoever else other associate he wants to address the issue,
Mm-hmm.
then he can. Because you see, that's the other thing, and that's why I'm saying the minister himself, because we find a lot of the times, even the premier when he goes to press conferences and so on, even though he don't have these other ministers with him, when questions are asked in relation to some of these different ministries, he would say he don't know
Yes.
and he have to come back and he got to get some information and things like that. And so we don't want so much of that if he's supposed to come on the platform. We would want him to be able to have information. So that is why I am hopeful that he could either have the minister or somebody else in the ministry who would be able to answer some of these questions that we are curious about, because this cannot continue. And if it is, then we are just going to be in a worse situation. We're already in some debt, and we are going to continue with debt because we don't have gold, we don't have lithium, we don't have diamonds, we don't have, oil and all of these other resources. We are dependent on either foreign exchange from tourism, and or if we are supposed to improve our agriculture sector, agriculture can also be another serious revenue generator. But
Yes, son.
they would have to take it seriously.
Let me stop and say, I mean, my condolences going out to my good friend Fitzroy Warner. Had passed away. I mean, yesterday, I got the phone call that he had passed away. I'm not sure if you hear about it. You hear anything about that?
No.
Warner,
Condolences.
Warner from.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, but I
Yes,
didn't hear anything.
yes,
My
yes. The
condolences.
transition.
I heard about Lady Daniel, the wife of the late Simeon Daniel, who would have
Who?
passed away. Miss Daniel, Sid
Who
Daniel's
is
wife.
that?
Simeon
Oh,
Daniel's
yes,
wife.
yes, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, yes, yeah. Yeah. Also,
Um,
yeah, to the family, Adrian, and the family, definitely, of course.
yes, and
The reason why
I have.
I bring up Warner, because you see, Warner is someone who he had also had the interest in agriculture. Because he wanted me to develop some land for him over an acre land. Because he had seen what I have done. Because as I tell you, I take a lot of licks from both sides. The green Kool-Aid and the blue Kool-Aid. So Warner, he's one of the person who will always, "Thank what you're doing, come pick me up." And he will just show up at Indian Cast. There's people who will just show up where we at. People like Warner, Sonda, you understand, Hastings, Daniel. You just look for these people just show up. What is Saturdays? Once they're done, they're going to reach. They're in the Mars and in the area. You understand? So I know, and plus the schools. That's why you see nobody can talk about it, your son. I know they can't talk about it. It's today get a call and it's harvest time is up already for these churches. It's different than they have harvest.
I
Yeah.
really don't know him because I
But
am not.
in these times and so forth, there is at the area they'll come to get their fruits and different stuff. At the schools, people into the pomegranate juices. Something is the people who come from all over the world. They just did not leave Nevis unless they come at Indian Castle. Is the stories you get in the Virgin? They can't change this. Is written already. They can't change this. So this is even worse than the hospital. So that they got a bigger problem to do because you see, food have to be maintained forever. You see, and it's one thing the Taiwanese ambassador Michael Lin said in front of Alexis Jeffers, and he had to make excuse when he made the comment. He is disappointed of how the Eco Park is. I'm too is disappointed too. And I know he mean other areas of projects, agricultural projects and whatever that they have invested in the people of Taiwan, given to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, because we have a very, very, very poor attitude when it comes to maintaining of things when stuff is handed over. That is not good.
That's
And
that
it's
part, and then there's also the fact that there's not much of that serious interest in agriculture, and the Taiwanese
but it is
based
yes,
based in Eco Park. So I mean, I understand what you're saying in relation to handing over a project generally,
yes,
but also in relation to agriculture in itself now, you still find that
yes,
there's not so much of an interest. Eco Park
yes.
and what Eco Park um what
Well, they
what
have
they were
fruits. They're
seeking to
going.
do,
Yes,
what they were seeking to do was a part of what we should be doing because ecotourism, environmental tourism,
yes,
using the
yes,
farm as a
yes.
space where people can come and visit, see crops
Mm-hmm.
growing, see the crops
Yes,
being, taken and utilized in different ways and so on. They have the first
yes.
glass greenhouse, glass
Mm-hmm.
greenhouse where, if you needed to do indoor technology and so on. And, I mean, there's so much things that could be done. And this is why I'm saying that in a lot of cases, we are not really serious about agriculture. I guess at that time, when he spoke, Alexis would have been not just the Minister of Agriculture and Nevis, but he would have been the Federal Minister for
Yes, of
Agriculture.
course.
I guess he would have gotten the blows for that. But um, when I look at things like tissue culture and all these other technical aspects that the Taiwanese are experts on and could help to disseminate to our people, I don't know. I mean, I looked at even the other place there. They had up, by the Kim
Kim
Collins
Collins,
Highway
Kim
there, where
Collins.
had all of this,
Yes,
where they had all of these
yes.
carambola trees and so on and so forth. The Taiwanese was
Uh-huh.
responsible for that as well too. I think they eventually
Of course,
handed it over to the government. And again,
definitely.
we don't have that kind of vision. We still see agriculture. I don't know if that slavery sentimentality is still attached where people feel like, what I mean, seeing agriculture is like reminding them of slavery or whatever it is. But we need to change that kind of
Hmm.
mentality and start to realize that you can have businesses, several businesses, and you could be making, I mean, money just like anybody who is in the law firm, who is in corporate,
But
who
where's
is
that
in
drive? But where's that drive?
doctors.
But where's that drive, your son? But where's that drive? You have a communication team. You have all the resources that the department, you have the so you are the lead by example. You see what I mean? There's so much you could do every day when it comes to go out there in the general public and walk into any shop, any store, whether it's courts, whatever, and talk agriculture to anyone. They will have all the blenders inside. They will the blender for the food. You see what I mean? So you can speak agriculture anywhere you go in any business because
But
that is just an
as
yes,
you said that, right? As you said that, I
yes.
am wondering if the fact that in both cases, Nevis and Ansinkit, the Ministry of Agriculture is also tucked in, or is tucked in to ministers who have other ministries that may deem their ministries or those other ministries to be more important or significant, and or they may personally have more interest in those areas other than in agriculture. I don't know if that is the case because I know, like for example, Anson Kit, the federal minister, is not just minister of agriculture, but he's also minister of culture. He's also minister of small businesses and cooperatives and all a number of different things that's on his plate. So sometimes I wonder if agriculture is not just kind of left on the back burner, um, because a
Well,
lot of these other areas too are critical areas. Like for example, the, the Ministry of Entertainment and the arts and all of these things, especially that ministry, which is a new ministry, and the Ministry of Entrepreneurship and so on. These are things that are very important and at the same time new to some extent and do need a lot of attention. Agriculture is also very important, more important to some extent than a lot of these things. But however,
mhm,
I don't know if some of that has to do this. So I don't know if in the future maybe they would want to consider having the agricultural minister just solely focused on agriculture so that they can really get through with the things that they need to deal with in regards to that, or if that might necessarily make a change. I don't know. But it's just what I'm seeing because even in Nevis, you hear more and see more of the minister in regards to culture where I mean
mhm.
he's very active. He's actually even playing in one of the string bands and so on, and going out and entertaining and so on. So you see that he's not just involved in culture,
Yes,
in
yes,
organizing and so on, but he's showing that he's a part of it. But we are not seeing the same in regards to agriculture. So that is what I'm saying. I
of
don't
course.
know if that might be something that should be considered so that they could have a total focus on that ministry and not um, get because okay, for example, now if you're going to measure these ministers, right, and their work, they may get great praises overall, because people might just look at the fact that what they did in culture, what they may do in the other areas. But then in terms of agriculture now, because they got these other things that could give them a little spotlight, their failures in those areas might not necessarily be that obvious or that in the spotlight, because these are other things overshadow. So I don't know. It's just me thinking out loud and talking out loud as I look at what I'm seeing and as we are having this discussion.
Well, you're gonna affect us because it's food. So if you're gonna have an area that you have source of trees that you can go and harvest of in abundance, pounds and pounds and pounds, and going into and putting money into your consolidated fund that you have whatever you need, medication from the hospital, or if you're going to an offices and papers are there, is the resources from that place also goes into consolidated fund. So we really have to care, and that's just the reality about it. Also, yes, on if we're gonna move in towards 2025, think it started greenhouse villages. It means we got to work with technology at the same time also. So Navis himself would have to improve his greenhouse um
It seemed like
you got to
Banky get
involve.
frozen a little bit.
Oh, me? Are you
Mm.
mean? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. But it seemed
Okay.
as if you froze for a little bit there. I don't know. Maybe it was me.
No, you
But
had your froze. I seem to be all right. No, I was just talking earlier about with the 2025 agenda and seeing it have the greenhouse villages, and so we also gonna have to find a way if to improve our sensitive crops, like when it comes to high production, like bell peppers, tomatoes, cabbages. Some of those crops we can put them in a safe environment. Cherry tomatoes, along with herbs and thymes, and these things can plant in high density. Even seasoned peppers, and most crops can go inside there. If they got well, I don't know. Honestly, I even hear a plan from agriculture, because they were supposed to there was one collaborative effort. But if things are gonna move, you can't just have the few farmers with who have the technology of to hydroponic system at three and three other greenhouses. That can't sustain the market in Nevis. You need nearly 20, 30 more greenhouses just to produce lettuce if you want to meet you see what I mean? The demand is so high for these things. So how no resources put in place. So how Nevis Park gonna catch up if they're not gonna think of having nearly 100 greenhouses the plan to set up, and they don't start set up a lot of them. If Nevis not contribute one to the effort. So up to now, no farmer have benefited from the 2025 agenda. Not one. Is this week I was talking, I went into two farmers. One was a part of the discussion with the 2025 agenda. And he said, and the same time we were talking there, he mentioned to the next farmer. And this farmer is a farmer who well need resources, because right now he about to go get wire to go money to a fund wire. And at the same time, the same person who was part of the meeting told him they didn't send the list. I said, oh, you know about the list too? Then he said, yes, I was part of the meeting. I said, oh, I didn't know you were part of the meeting. That's okay. When he said that, Virgin, and the next one started to say, boy, again, we can start across bad word. He said, what are you talking about? I said, well, you explain yourself, because when we talk about this on the radio all the time, I didn't know other people who was in the meeting when the man tell him all they had to do. And he went further, Yason, and said, what happened is that think it budgeted for the 2025 agenda. Okay? And when the Nevis was asked for the budget for the 2025 agenda, everybody watching everybody and waiting for the PS to come. When the PS come and they ask, well, what are they talking about? There was not a budget for. So then, think it decide it's a collaborative effort, regardless of what Nevis didn't do. They're going to work along with you understand, because it's a collaborative effort. They have the commitment and they're not going to change it. So just send the list. Never done. You
That
can't make up
is
these things,
that is
Virgin. It just happened
that is
yesterday.
just,
I was passing through
that is just
a
so
village
disappointing.
and running
That
into
is just so disappointing.
yes, because I want this 2012 agenda to work. Nobody want to work more than me. Because if it work, it means farmers. The money will be stayed within the money of the farmers or within the community. That's why I want these things to work. Because if you're producing the food, the people is the local is with the people gonna benefit in the Virgin, the backyard
But
farmers.
Banky,
You understand? Yes.
this is the funny thing that just a couple of days ago, I saw a post on Facebook, and they were talking about um, some red dye or something that is used in a lot of different products, right?
Yes.
Banned in a lot of the in American and European territories and so on. However, some of these countries that these products are banned in, they still make the products and put for export purposes only, because they can't sell them in their country, but they can
Mm-hmm.
dump them off in these third world
Of course.
territories and so on. So the person was
Yes.
alluding to encouraging us to pay more attention to the ingredients in the things that we buy and so on,
Yes.
and pay attention to
Of
these
course.
facts. No, I responded to the person by saying that this is one of the reasons why we need to be taking value added more seriously, because a lot of
Of
these
course.
things sometimes, a lot of these things, in some cases, they are made with products and have ingredients in it that are banned and are dangerous in some of these territories,
Mm-hmm.
but they are allowed to pass through ours. We can protect ourselves if we are able to make some of these same things, have versions of them that are made by us using the ingredients that we are utilizing, knowing that we are using natural alternatives, and so that the value added products that you're getting is of a better
Yes.
quality and more nutritious and more healthy and so on. So we really need to start to, especially I know the agro processing unit would have already begun doing things like, the fruit lollies and soursop lollies and things like that. The food roll ups and the plantain chips, starber chips and banana chips and things like that. We need to be able to do a lot more of these and be able to have a lot more of these available, so that we can then start to educate our people to stop eating the Cheetos and the different other products that have some of these things in that are allowed in our community. But we can't do that until we have the alternative. And we also have to be able to do that to empower. Because when you start to do this, when the local food lollies and so is what is being sold in the schools and around the school compound and campuses and so on, and in the shops and stores and so on. When these natural things are being made, then it means then that since the demand for these things increase, then it also means that the farmers who are growing these raw materials would also be in a position to be making a lot more money, because now they could continue grow and continue to supply, and they don't have to worry because their produce would be, as I said, sold to the agro processing and or more people. If you don't necessarily want to go into use the government agro processing, you yourself can become an agripreneur, and you can develop your own products and brand your own products and so on. Or you can use the facility, because I know on Sinkish that's the way it was, and I think I heard that on Navis too.
No,
That
the
you can
facility is there
pay a
for the general
small
public to
fee,
use.
right? You
Yes.
can use the
Yes.
facility to create whatever it is that you're creating in a space that would be deemed um, certified,
From my understanding,
and meet the what you call it, the health requirements for you to make it, health
yes.
standards, food handling standards, and you could make your product brand and label, and then that's where marketing now, the marketing team in agriculture now can be helpful in terms of helping those who are making these value added products to get market to them. And so these areas would need to be spruced up. I think right now, the PRO side of agriculture, where public relations, where they do, they need to team up a little bit more with maybe NNC and also use social media platform. I see the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, they are utilizing social media a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They have Facebook and so on, and
Yes.
they keep putting out posts. I could see they are
Mm-hmm.
tendering, they're tendering for projects and things and so on. Any little thing that's happening, any events. So Nevis also need to be walking in that footstep and to be doing these things. Go out and visit the farmer. I think there was a time when Wuhan Isles was there, and Wuhan Isles started a program there where he used to go out and talk to the farmers. I forget what it was called, Live on the Farm or something. I don't remember what it was called, but
No, that
he
was on the farm with me and him.
okay. So that was but then he used to visit other
Yes.
farms and so as well, and highlight
Yeah.
things
Well.
that's
Yeah.
happening
Well. Yes.
in the agricultural in
Yes. On the farm. On the
scenario,
farm.
which is vital. You need to have these things. You need to do these things, and then that is when you could, when you're having these programs, and then is when you can highlight, the things that you're doing at agro-processing and how people can benefit and how the average farmer can, the backyard gardener can. You need to reach out to some of these backyard gardeners and so on, empower them and so on. Things like that to make agriculture more relevant. You need to have agriculture in the spotlight as well. Just like how tourism advertise and out the marketing and so on. And so that's the PRO side and the um, media side of it. That area needs to be spruced up. The marketing and advertising side, that needs to be addressed so that, as I'm saying, when you spruce up the abattoir, and people start to, these
Mm-hmm.
guys start to produce more stuff, that you can make the reach out there now, whether it's in St. Lucia, Montserrat,
Antigua
Stable,
right there.
Station, Villa, St. Martin, or wherever you closer islands, so that you can get the produce off. Same thing for the agro processing. When they start making the jams, when they start making the whatever it is that they're making, create, markets. Whether you reach out to the hotels, whether you reach out to the little supermarkets in St. Martin's or the other, whichever little
Yes.
market that you can, so that we can get our products out there. I know you would have said, Banky, um, that you would have had discussions with people from the USDA and FDA and all of these people who are in the US,
Well, a
who
matter
are
of fact,
willing,
yes,
willing to work with us as long as we could get our
yes,
products up to the standard. So with
yes.
things like that, why are we not seeking to push, especially knowing that we have our people in the diaspora who would love to get a lot of these things? Imagine people from St. Kitts and Nevis knowing that they could easily get there, whether it's tamarind balls, guava cheese, um,
Well, yeah,
yams,
son.
pepper sauce, whatever it is.
I'm waiting for my response from sort of university. Cause as a matter of fact, it's today as I text one of the doctor to make that part be a part of the training to reach out to the FDA with the same gentleman who was a part of the same meeting. So was willing to come down and fund the project and do train our people when it come to getting in what requirement is needed and how to prepare the fresh fruits and vegetables for to enter into the US. And these are things they've been pushing for. So I reached out to one of the managing director of the agriculture area, and I'm just waiting for a response. But we have some stuff we're working on definitely when it comes to cannabis workshop, and as the information keep going, I'll just update the general public and stuff like that. But the one for Indonesia, that's a go. So for those who are interested in the value added product when it comes to jams and ketchups and all the different stuff, when it's making tea bags and coconut oil, definitely just give me a text or call or send me and let me know. I'll give me your name and I'll register and just keep everybody name. At least I have a head count of who. 'Cause you
It's
can
gonna
have
be
any
something
amount
it's gonna be
online.
something online. Wonderful. Well, put my name on the
Yes,
list. I'll
no
definitely
problem.
want to be
So
a
as much, yeah, it's gonna be as much. And as I said, they love the idea, and then she'll find a non NGO to fund the workshop. So it's gonna be a few workshop for a
well,
couple of days.
Banky,
One a couple of days. Yes.
what we may have to do, um,
Mm-hmm.
as I listen to some of what is going on, we may kind of have to take the bulls by the horns and we may have to seek to get funding for uh, a facility that we could use to put on these workshops. And similarly, like I guess even though the agro processing have their own thing already, we would have our equipment to do whatever it is that we need to do to train people for, whether it's the agro processing side or it's the cannabis
Of
side, whether
course.
it's extraction and making all of the other byproducts and so on. We need to be able to
Yes.
have that. So with what we're doing, and then
All that,
with
all that
the
will fall into,
connections
all that will fall into place.
with the connections with the universities, that would be
Yes,
a
definitely.
plus in order for
Yes.
a agency out there to want to fund us, knowing that we have that relationship already. So even though it is not necessarily government related, some
Of
companies
course.
will be willing to fund private, public-private ventures. So that might be something that we have to do, because there might not necessarily be people as serious as we should be. Sorry, as we are, as they should be, and as we are. But we know the crisis that we are facing right now, and we know that if we don't do some of the things that we are seeking to do right now, that Nevis is not going to meet the 25 by 25 agenda, and we're going to get even
N-
further into dependence and import. And that is something that we can continue to allow if we can help it. So I am with you, Banky. I support you. I love what you are doing right now in terms of not just talking about it, but you know, demonstrating that at this point, you have mangoes already for the year, you have squashes already for the year, you're constantly pushing sorrel and um what was the other one
well,
that you
the,
had
yeah.
there?
Well, we'll have
Watermelon.
sorrel, I still have
Watermelon.
carambola, and I have pumpkin squash, carambola. You have sorrel, and what else I have there? Well, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be harvesting some sweet potatoes. The melon them just finished last week there. So right now, whatever melon is one is there, just use them to make value added. The general public love the watermelon juice, so the small one they're just using to make the juice. So I'm just gonna big up my cousin Amanis. You're doing a great job in the shop using the pumpkin and making pumpkin cake and all this different stuff. And that is what I love to see. Being creative, think of whatever the farm have and just use it, and she been doing stuff like that. So I wrote her look wrote some labeling to go label her stuff properly, and you know. But for now, she's doing a very so you must when you see young people doing good things and being creative, you must gotta big them up. Tomorrow, usually they have the cook off where they have the different menus, and they get a baked chicken, the fish and caramel. So all those who want the fish and caramel and soul food come to Mansell's Last Stop every Saturday. To want to say again, thank for those who come out every Saturday, Fridays, Monday to Friday, and even though it's going out on the weekend, Sunday and same on the farm and to purchase something and stuff like that from time to time. Greatly appreciate the support, and you can't tell the general public thanks enough, yes, son. You always got to show gratitude because people have choices. And yes, son, I know you've been sending me texts and say people call me for mangoes, but Virgin, if I have to answer these phone calls, I ain't gonna walk down the farm. You see what I mean? So,
So what I was suggesting,
yes,
is that you probably have a number inside, one of
yes, this
those
is a number
girls'
for,
numbers,
of
so
course.
that
Yeah, there's
right,
number
so
there
that
and the
they can have,
sign. Yes,
so that when people want to call and to talk to
yes,
somebody,
they call
because
the
in
shop.
terms of business, some people they love to talk to who they're talking to. I mean, yes, they could send a message, but they prefer to have a conversation with somebody, talk to somebody
Of
in
course, definitely.
real life. So that other number, yes, so make sure you advertise it. And then I
Yes,
guess I could put it out so that if you need to
yes.
call, you call. Because I advertise a lot, and so I mean, people is something calling me to tell me that they can't get you. Imagine that here in California, they're
Yeah,
telling me they can't get Banky. So they calling me to tell me they can't get Banky. But um, the thing is, business wise, I do understand that, and so if you can share that number eventually, and then when I do
Yes,
make the
six
post, I will
six one
advertise that number.
7627. The number for the shop is 661 7627. Yes,
Okay,
that's you'll
so
get the young lady
that's no
there.
problem. Shoot me it in my inbox and WhatsApp later on, and then
Yes,
I'll probably post that more
and just
times when
send
I do
no problem.
the
I'll
ads
just
and
send you
stuff.
the picture with
But
that with
yeah,
the sign,
people,
and the sign would have on.
um, yeah, people, it's really some crucial times that's going on, and we also, I mean, Banky, I I really hope that more of our people can seriously, begin to take, agriculture a bit more seriously. Um,
Well,
I,
yes,
I,
I encourage the
I
farmers them.
remember when we were talking about the folks who um passed away. I wanted to mention um my very very good friend Mr. Bristol over there on St. Kitts passed away. The manager for Admirals Enterprises and Brimstone Hill Pepper Sauce. Um,
Oh wow,
that
I
brother man, I really couldn't believe it. That's like a soul that was so passionate about agriculture. He was involved in a number of other things. Um, didn't, and I don't think he got a lot of the respect for a lot of the work that he was doing. A lot of people,
mm-hmm.
tend to criticize and so on, but he was very much involved in recycling.
Recycling, of course. Yes, I see
Yeah,
also some of
he
them
was very
bottles
much,
and oh, yes,
bottles, cardboard.
yes,
He was
everything.
actually at one point taking the old cooking oil and so on from restaurants and hotels and so on, and was actually creating a fuel that he was using in his truck. That's how deep the brother was in
Mm-hmm.
terms of his recycling. And so his service
Yes,
truck were using the fuel that was created from the recycled oil and so on that he
of
was picking
course.
up. He did a lot in terms of upholstery renovation and so on. A lot of people who, when you have your couches and your living room sets and so on, a lot of people, instead of
Mm-hmm.
having to buy new one, you can just
Yes,
bring whatever you have to him, and he make it look like brand new. These are things that this
nice.
brother was doing right there by the industrial site. By the old sugar factory. A lot of people,
Yes,
usually talk
yes,
about how they look and so on, but I don't think they realize much of what he was doing or attempting to do, but was not necessarily getting the kind of support that I think he should have been
of
getting.
course.
And in regards to the pepper sauce, I always talk about the Brimstone Flavors is one of the
Yes.
top brands in the federation, and that's why when we talked about the Tabasco sauce and so on, I was, kind of, and even though I appreciate the gesture and I appreciate the move and getting the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
go, specific for a big company and so on. I am also thinking of what we can do to help some of our local processors to also get to the
Of
point where
course.
their brand is big like Tabasco as well. Because Brimstone
True.
Flavors and Llewellyn, in Nevis there, among
Yes.
others, could become brands because they're actually competitors of Tabasco. And so, whereas we are helping Tabasco and get the opportunity to go for Tabasco, and it's a great opportunity and so on, it's also greater if we can help some of these local farmers that we have with this quality product to maintain that kind of quality and standard and bring it up so that their stuff now can be equally on some of the same shelves globally where Tabasco is. So, when you go into the supermarket and you see Tabasco right up in front, you could see Brimstone Flavors and you could see Llewellyn and you could see Emontine and you could see
Definitely.
um, these other people who make pepper sauce and so
Yes.
on. And, you know, these are things that we need to do. And Banky, if we do these things, these are things that also can help to empower farmers. So, for example, pepper sauce. Imagine you really work on improving your own local pepper producers, and they get to the point where you help them to get the market as well, so that these products could be going outside of the federation. Now, you will have
Yes.
farmers who need to grow the ingredients for these pepper sauce so that they can have a
Of
constant
course.
um,
Yes.
amount. Now,
The
that is
seasoning, all
pepper
these
sauce.
things.
The similar ingredients is going to be needed if you're going to do green seasoning, which is another product that you could do
Yes.
similarly to pepper sauce.
Of course.
So, so you see how you can make way for farmers to get into. So one farmer could probably be just be growing the pepper. Another one could just be growing the herbs and you know what I mean.
Of
Another
course.
one could be growing the onions.
Yes.
And they don't have to worry because these producers are going to need these ingredients on a regular, and they have the capability to stock. Because like Tabasco, a lot of the pepper that you're getting, they have some of these things stored up for months, for years, where they just
Yes. Yeah, man.
make the, don't remember what they call it. They make the premix and just have it there soaking
Yes.
until they're
Yes.
ready
In a
to
barrel
make it.
with salt on the top.
Right. So likewise, I think that was what Mr. Bristol was doing as well in regards to some of the peppers that he was making. And so, we have people like these who are amongst us, and sometimes they move away, and it's only when they leave us we recognize their contributions and the significance and so on. And so, a gentle soul, I want to say, rest in peace, my brother, and condolences to your family as well, your sons, and all the other
Definitely.
family
Yes, sir.
members. Um, and I really hope and pray that his sons are able to continue, our family members, whoever, are able to continue
Yes.
that kind of quest that he had in regards to agriculture and other businesses and ventures that he had.
Well,
That was a part.
I never know the gentleman, but I mean, I know the area up by the factory where you see the recycling going on and stuff like that. And I know the Brimstone hot pepper sauce in it in a couple of places, but I never know the person.
Well, I knew him. I knew him personally. I actually worked. Yeah, I actually worked for him um, in
It's sticking up right now,
um,
yes.
I am frozen.
Okay. No, we're good now. We're good again.
Okay, I was saying that I know him personally. I actually worked along with him um, right there at Brimstone Hill, at the bottom of Brimstone Hill. He had a farm there that he grew pepper
Okay.
sauce and sorry, that he grew peppers, onions,
Yes.
and chives and thyme on back in by when that was 2007, 8, 9, somewhere there about. It was
Mm-hmm.
way back. Um, and I was very instrumental in helping him market the Brimstone flavors. As a matter of fact, in 2010 or 11 thereabout, when I went to St. Vincent to represent um, farmers and St. Kitts and Nevis with agro processing products, Brimstone flavors pepper sauce, along with some of rest in peace, also Stapleton, Nelson Stapleton, but his
Mm-hmm.
wife, Maureen. I took some of her
Yes.
breadfruit flour and cassava flour and some of the
Nice.
other flowers and so I had some things from Miss Nesbitt. I had some things from Emma. So my display was basically agro processed product from St. Kitts and
Yes.
Nevis. So this is how long, Banky, I have been pushing this
Yeah,
agro
man.
processing side, showing the value added and
Yes.
the need for us to zoom in and focus on value added, which is an area that we can focus on developing our agriculture. So I remember taking the pepper sauce and people being able to, taste it, and the feedback and so was very, 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 very positive. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved what we were doing. So we were kind of leading the way. I've just seen recently St. Vincent tapping into some of these things that I'm talking about, the breadfruit flour and cassava flour and some of these other things. And so on. But we would have been leading the way. But I am not sure of the kind of support, the support that we should be getting. Um, we are not getting it. Um, and you know, like I think of Nevis, right? Um, For 13 years, back to back, Emontine has been going to St. Croix. It was first she and her husband. The husband passed away. And she has,
Yes.
since her husband, gone back and has made Nevis proud. Again, first place, first place. And for
But
for the
maybe the
first
13th
year,
time.
last year for the first time, St. Kitts participated. So you had people like Paulette Peets and some others. I think they placed second or something. I don't remember exactly. I think they
Yes.
did. So St. Kitts and Nevis
They
had
did
some
good too.
serious placings.
Yes.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it is showing that what we are doing on St. Kitts and Nevis is not recognized just by St. Kitts and Nevis, because that activity in St. Croix is the participants from all over the region,
Of
you know,
course.
not just
Antigua,
St.
different
Croix,
places.
but other
Yes.
Caribbean islands. And for Nevis to
Definitely.
go there and win, and we don't hear anything about that. We don't hear, you know what I mean? You know, and this is what I'm saying. We need to use these opportunities to highlight our people who are doing wonderful things in the agricultural sector. Boost them up. Give them the flowers while they're alive. Give them more reason to push and continue food security. You know how much years M&T in there in the corner there by the market, going she stuff, driving she little truck down there, selling her produce and the other value added things that she makes.
Yes, sorry.
That is what she send her children to school with. That is what, and some of her children and grandchildren now is assisting her and
Mm-hmm.
working, you know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Banky. These things, you know,
Yes, and it's
bother
not that
me.
don't, our leaders know better, Virgin. Because we rise in the morning, first thing all of us will look for is the kitchen we head to. Throughout the day, we heading for something to drink, fluid, nourishing our bodies. It boils down to choices and what we consider what is important and what we over, because the boat can always be coming and all this different stuff. But I know they're making a big mistake. You see how they produce. Well, let's say I was not running the farm. Where all this food gap would have come from that I'm feeling right now? You see how the universe works, right? That is just the reality. Because I don't harvest 5 crops of watermelon since I've been there. You see what I mean? Okra. And I done today I planted, I've been planting, we call it pumpkin. Replace the pumpkin I'm harvesting out of car. By next week I'm harvesting always pumpkin in 2 different areas and cut those to a field and plant melon in those fields. If not melon, sorrel, but something gonna be replaced in those fields after I cut them 2 areas. So I done planting pumpkin to replace those crops. And don't plant back two set of watermelon. I have watermelon no fruit in already, have one fruit. So tomorrow I'm gonna prepare and clean up those watermelon, when we work through them areas where they could can they start to run already and taking care of them. So I don't have melon germinating and don't ready to spread off, because start running in the next 2 weeks. You got once you put in the time and the consistency, that is where it boils down to, and efficiency, and at the same time not just going for make sure the food is safe and nutritious for the people you're feeding, and do it in a holistic way. Because remember, I do not use no gramaxone and no herbicide. So imagine those farmers who use all these pesticides and herbicides to grow their crop, all them weeds around the clock over and over and over. You know the amount of money you're wasting on chemicals and damaging yourself and the environment you're around by using all these herbicides. All I want is weed whacker. And I showed on my status when I'm there planting how I go about doing it and all this different stuff. Because it's important to show people this technique. And at the same time, all I'm doing is just building back up my soil over and over, changing the structure of the soil, improve my drainage, improve the type of soil I'm planting in. And at the same time, I'm protecting all the good biological microbes and all the earthworms kind of bringing in the plow and all this thing. You know what I mean? Losing my nutrients, losing my soil. Every time bringing a plow, you're losing the soil, you look up in the air, all the soil belong in going somewhere else. So I don't have all these issues farmers have. You see? So our leaders know better, because some of the work in the department, and they to go up in an environment with a yard having fruit trees. And so that's why I'm holding the whole cabinet, the whole ministry and Department of Agriculture, and at the same time the general public accountable. They got to hold it because it is theirs. That's why I do it for the general public, and they have benefited over the years half of Indian Castle. Who can you see anybody speaking of Indian Castle, not even the general public castle? That's what I'm trying to show you. What they're going to say. What can they say? Can't say nothing. Because instead of going down to the coming over where I'm at, you have professionals that when somebody leaves, you're supposed to add and master something to make it better and keep adding and adding and adding. Because all I'm interested in right now, my brethren, is to plant food, You understand? Plant food, and plant more food. And at the same time, the people give me the opportunity, which I know they would, is to make sure the people benefit even more and put policies in place where agriculture would have to be at the top because you must go connect. And we all see how agriculture connect with all the different areas within the government sector. Communication, the Majil well, where which well is being dug for agricultural purpose, when which one it might be not good enough for the using for potable water, but good for agricultural purpose. The Minister of Agriculture, which is the Premier, talking to the Minister of Communication, making sure these things have been put in place. The Minister talking to the Minister of Health to say, well, we're going to have a good garden or greenhouse at the Alexander Hospital and have a garden in the one understand crop production. And well, a director of schools, you must have a director of schools in charge of all the schools, garden, and the whole island. That was a must. I remember when Minister Jeffers moved daily and put him down by education office. Yes, on a blank out. I think he was put there to be director of schools, school gardens. Well, I mean, I guess he get offended because he got. I mean, he got to be a doctorate, so he don't want to be director of school. So that's a demotion for him. But you should have taken the position and swing it around and show it no matter where I'm input. I'm not. And that's where you touch that the young ones them. But we just, I don't know. People don't want to look at these things as being demoted and all this nonsense. And it's just because people just lose themselves. But these things are needed. If so, now because you live for the place I've been put to be director of schools, perform your duties, be professional. School, you're reaching the young people. You see? Okay. You're a director, you have people to work with, you put them to write your policies, put things in place. But how are we going to go forward if we're not dealing with the youth? You've been put in the most important place, but yet you not want to. You got to lead the youth and them because that is who you want to connect. The youth, they will take up agriculture. So if you are put in place, and then up to now that position haven't been filled because we're not taking things serious. Each schools around St. Kitts Nevis, most of them have their own garden. They don't have their own garden, they have a kitchen. And if you have a kitchen, it means you have a garden because you won't spend most of your resources out to get money to do your cooking on a daily basis. And that's why I recommend that one of these estates, especially, need to be turned over towards a school garden, where the schools can have an area they have fresh fruits growing all year round and have an area with a good walk-in field you can chill where you can store stuff and supply to the other schools. You must have to put these things in place. Each school could have a small greenhouse the same way. All these things need to be added. The schools need to have a budget. There's no budget for the school. I don't know how education make the budget, but agriculture is linked with each. There's no one of them is without the agriculture link, and we need to look at it in that way, in that aspect. And that's just the reality. We eat every day. Yesterday, the phone calls I get daily is, I'm telling you, otherwise I ain't got nothing done. And I see in the near future, I give it less than 10 years. You don't have to start protect your food because people gonna come to you and warn you. So pay you for your food before you start planting. Because that's the seriousness I see this thing heading. You see? That is the seriousness I'm seeing this thing heading. And when you can have 40 acres of food going down the drain because I'm gonna beat it all the time in the car. Rule number one is toss up. We keep talking, and we have a high role of cancer within our community. And the source up leaf, the source up is something that is always been recommended. So you have shaddock that people want all the time, over 40 of them. Shaddock, taller than me. I don't know how taller be now. And don't tell me what nearly over 3,000 coconut trees. Really, all different varieties. Is the people's one. So how you gonna take anyone serious if they're not taking your food? That is your food. That is your food emergency thing. Myself there for you in the food bank, that I put there. So I ain't hear nobody talking about it. Not even not even thinking of talking about. All them know about Indian Castle
So
Food
what about the
Orchard.
pepper project? What about the pepper project? The
Which
Tobacco
one?
project
Well,
that
by
Neve was
talking
supposed to
to
be.
this is what if I'm talking to one in the department of agriculture yesterday. I was told the peppers there's pepper at Cagesburg growing nicely, but them at Indian Castle they can't talk on that. So you see the difference, but it's the same project. So whether it's one that if one fail, it mean the whole project
Well,
fail, cannot supposed to fail.
I learned. I'm learning now because I didn't know that they have some at Caseby. So they have some going at Caseby and they have
Well,
some going at Indian.
I didn't know I didn't know I had the Cagesburg either. You understand? That was news to me when I was told those at Cagesburg growing nice. I know those at St. Kitts, where we have them looking lovely as the feedback getting, but them at Indian Castle. Last time I heard about that only about a tree left back. So about a tree mean it keep going down, it keep deteriorating, so maybe half a tree by now. And none at all. I don't know. But
So
you could call Indian Castle one fail.
how do one get updates on things like that? So like for example, this project is going on with the Tabasco project. How do we get updates on
Yeah.
what is going on?
Well,
I know maybe
when
eventually
the
things will
minister,
be implemented.
the PS, there's assistant PS, there's a director of agriculture, deputy director, and the one who is in charge of the peppers at Indian Castle, there's a manager who is there. You see what I mean? So I don't know what the issue is. Them is who you must give right up. I have to give I used to give a monthly report every month, that should be goes in before the 5th of I mean the following week, the following month. At the end of the month, you got a grace period of 1 to 5 days to send in your monthly report. So that's mean there's no report being given for over a year, and then your manager then. So yeah, you see what I'm talking about. Because you must, if you go in a crop and for experiment, you must be monitoring this crop and so you go in the environment and stuff like that. So there's no accountability. It's amazing how everybody know when I was at Indian Castle. Everybody know who Indian Castle belongs to. Well, who he belongs to now. The new manager name not call. I mean, I understand that. When the new manager ain't got a name, that is funny. These things are funny to me, guys. It is funny to me.
But I don't think even now that you're not there, I don't think because since you have left, nothing was really said
Yes.
about this. I don't even think people know that you're not there.
So
I'm
why
sure people still
so why
tell
is
you're
that?
there.
But I mean,
Well,
why they're not talking about the project that was boosted up for the last 3 years and put on all over? You know what I
I
mean?
don't know, but I don't know, but we have not heard anything. It's all I only know something about it like because we are on this program and we talk about it, but in the media you don't hear anything
Yes.
at all. In regards to Indian castle. So that's interesting and it's sad. And I know it is much more sad for you, especially knowing that you are the one who put in all that work and to look at what is happening today and seeing what is happening today. I know that you really feel, you know, disappointed. You have moved on. You have
Well,
continued doing what you are doing.
the plants and them will pour the energy on them, because they shall suffer, because I watch each and every one of them benefited half of that project. politically and every aspect, eating wise, everything. So what do the plants do them? Because the plants show thing that all the plants is do, creating a microenvironment in the in Gingerland area, pulling rain, cleaning the atmosphere and everything like that. So it's doing you good. So how can something doing you good and it's for your survival and you don't care about it? So it's so the mind frame and the spirit of these people. It show it, if you not take your food and jelly cheese that always a beer, so what's up? And you can call all the list that you can think of. Well, it should the kind of mind frame where we at and as a people. You see what I mean? Because if no other Caribbean island around here, not even St. Croix, choose one unless you're going to like Cuba or Jamaica. It's so far you have to go. Have what we have. Establish hand over in mint condition as the director and as the deputy and everyone else speak of in the department. Can they call me every day, you know? They don't know what to do. Yeah, so they don't know what to do. So how you don't know what to do? So you keep calling me for? Me not, you understand? Me don't tell them, you know. When they call me phone, the clock around, so nobody call me phone. Call the ministers them phone. Call Mr. Brantley phone. Call Troy phone. Call Spencer phone. Call the young lady in health. Call the deputies. Who is that? Mr. Trust and the legal advisor. Call them. Talk to them about Indian Castle and do it forward. They don't need to call me because the last thing I tell you again, and I don't tell the director, the resources that are there that was ordered for the second phase at Indian Castle, give them away to the general public if they have any seriousness about moving the country forward when it comes to helping the people and to really make a change to attempt to do something for the 25th agenda. Come to the people straight up, get Indian Castle back together, put back Mr. Marvin Lewis down there, which and increase his pay. You can't have the chief extension officer getting paid and failing, and then you move a man who was there training under me, move him, and now you want to put him back down there. Well, yes, and how that make sense? When you give him a promotion when he been there before, and the one who you put there, who's supposed to be leading and be the most technical person in the department, failing. So how you want the one day he can't do the work over a whole year, but the man who you move from there to go do the work. Well, explain the one day to me. The same man who train who on paper and who me train mine. So explain the one day to me. People is I'm talking about. How is this possible? Marvin Lewis was sent over to right now he's over in what the name? New River area to do nothing in summer last year. So now they want to send him back down there in the new year now because the manager failing to the worst ever. But I hear the chief. He is the most technical person you're supposed to have extension officer or the chief, you know, the chief, and you're a poor man who not got no kind of paper, nothing at all. But you got the experience training under Mike here. You see what I mean? You want to put him down there now. You can make up these things, your son. Your comedy. You see? This is comedy. You can't make up these things. And the general public gonna accept these things. So where those paper comes in, your son, you're gonna make up paper again. So the paper have you have nothing to do with paper. You see what I'm talking about? Training. Marvin Lewis was trained. He understands the system. He understands how to do the people and everything. It's not just about the crap and minding the environment. Pest everything. You move the man for whatever reason, put your one there. And now we now work. You want what the same man they know. So if Marvin Lewis is put back there, let the payment now, he need to get the pay that the chief extension officer getting. The manager who was there getting. If he's moved, if he's put back down there, and if I was Marvin, unless I'm not getting those wages, I wouldn't go back down there because you don't move me, you know. You understand? And now and then you are moving back down there to the work that you're not doing, you put to do. Well, explain that one day. So double whammy, yes, son. So you see the general public is what I'm talking about. So how do you address this kind of situation? How do you address this situation? But these things you long used to avoid these things. The staff has been abused, the animal has been abused, the trees have been abused, and the schools them keep calling and they're not going on, they live in Gingerland High School, live in Gingerland, and coming out the schools, coming out to Kids Bay with the school children them. Not going down Hanley's Road, coming over and the same treatment they get. They get foods to eat. You see what I mean? Everything same treatment because what I'm doing is what I was doing there. Nothing changed. Whatever you see me harvesting melon, harvesting soil, I've been doing all this stuff we've been harvesting for the government, going to the kitty. So why openness coming up in March and all every year what I've been down there is the most melon being planted, and in the other years I plant different varieties to show different variation of melons and soil and all this different stuff. One crop haven't come out of down there, one seed, one of nothing. You see, they've not tried to plant some pepper and they're dead. You can't make up these stuff. It's sad. So you show there's no accountability, and accountability is what we have to go forward. And if I gotta step up to the plate and we put up myself as a representative, I'm accountable for myself, and the people gotta hold me accountable too. I don't make excuse for myself. It's today I have a visitor, Mr. Quincy Bart, and he gonna be hosting the workshop coming up this Saturday. And he was just saying, but I thought you had an electrical fence to keep out the monkey. Me say, no, he can't believe I ain't got electrical fence and I have it in all these different stuff because I'm on the farm. My presence is there. Monitoring the farm is part of the field of the farm work too. When you do the certain things, you just observe the farm and all that. So if you have electrical fence, you just don't leave the farm and figure out, oh, it's out, it's secure. It don't work like that. Ain't nothing better than that human presence. You see what I mean? If a monkey come in and bite one or two mangoes, I mean, that's nothing. Someone still jump and spoil it, and that's part of it. But you can't lose a entire crop. It mean you abandon your farm. Anybody who said they lose a crop, it mean they're gone from the farm for hours. For monkey to destroy your whole crop. But talking about monkeys, your son, the program have been shut down for going on 2 years. The monkey program in the department. So the female will have to address these things because really and truly, if farmers don't have to worry about monkeys, we can produce so much more food. You see what I mean?
So you're saying that they have not restarted the monkey program?
They're
Because
shut
I
down
could
2 years now.
remember,
Over 2 years not they're shut down.
I remember when we had what's his name, Gator on the program. Gator was
No,
saying that
get yes. Go ahead.
Gator was saying, well, okay, that's the monkey. Okay, sorry. Gator was something totally different. You're right. So Gator, because Gator
No,
was talking
Gate
about the
was part of
animal.
the monkey. Yeah, but he was part of the monkey program too. He was trained when it
True,
comes to
but I know he
tranquilizing
was saying
animals.
that, right. So that part he was saying, because I remember he said that they were saying that they were not going to invest in that because they wanted to invest in Culturama. So whatever monies they
Mm-hmm.
would have had for whatever tranquilizers and other stuff and so that they would have needed, that would have been on hold. I was wondering when you said that, I was wondering if they have not gotten back to that after Culturama, because I know he said that they were, because they were doing whatever renovations and so on. A lot of things were put on hold.
Okay.
But how could you?
So
How
the
could
minister
you?
say he gonna start phase 2 in Indian cars in the first quarter. This is the first month soon done. Next month sports and whatever, and as the place go down, a hotter you get. So me not understand who fooling who. Kala and I work, I could bet you $1 in each of the bet. The poultry thing now go work no
Banky,
time soon. And
Banky,
yes.
I tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you something in
Yes.
December,
Yes.
because I know after a couple of days you don't forget about that. And that thing gonna be a hot topic again. That thing is a Nevis.
Okay.
9 days. Whatever
I
it
got you.
is hot topic for 9 days. And then after that, so then no, they
Back
could
to
come and say
normal.
these things in the house or whatever. Because after nobody, as we're talking about it, the holding accountable, nobody is going to come back and
Yes.
say, well, you said that this thing is going to be done in the first quarter. Well, what happened? Nobody is there to say, okay, we're holding you accountable, and if you don't do these things, then we're pressuring you, so that there's no pressure.
Of course.
So
Well, I want to say if none of the general public or the homeowners and all those who because many benefited and it's not like who benefited, I'm asking them who to vote for. I don't know, I don't care who people vote for. You see what I'm saying? I see a farmer, I see a homeowner who need assistance in stuff like that. You have nothing to who people vote for. I see divisions. I see people who put in the work and who need assistance and I go do it to help them. And that's just how it always been. And that ain't gonna change. You see what I mean? If those what had because I understand how these politicians think, you know. Because when I hear politicians speak and say if somebody putting up running against them, and it could be their mother, or their father, or their brother, or their sister, whoever, it's all about war because they want the work. Well, you text well so when you was there, you wasn't there all the time, you're born in the position there. So you get somebody else who was there and get the chance to know, you know, I move from there. It's by all means you must be cemented there in steel and with a shield around you, so it's yours. Well, they don't have to vex the general public who have a choice to vote for the independent candidate. You understand? So if they choose to vote for me, well, vex with them then. Because I ain't have time to use negative energy and people who just want to stay in a position and failing because if the, I would like to know what I know Jeff Zoo can't feel good about it. I know that personally I feel good about it, but he can't talk about it neither. You're going to upset the deputy. Them a make I guess I see you see what I'm trying to show you. So you see where everything come to your son? And they can't talk about it, Virgin. Otherwise, they don't be talking about it. How come the other side not talk about it? And everybody benefit of Indian Castle. All. All who have the big sale, all. So they can't talk about it. Everybody benefit. All your sources was shared. I never asked if it's NRP. Once you call and want your sources when I'm in Indian Castle, you get it. Okay? That is how I function. I don't look at and hold size. Once you ask for resource size, is the people them one. That's what I ask question is not Banky Farm or the people farm. So when anybody call having a bake sale or whatever it is they want some donation of the farm, you get they get the donation and they go into the report. That is how I do things. So I want to know all who benefited, even those on the NRP and the leaders and them and all the things that I keep. How come by talking about Indian Castle when everybody benefit and see it going on to the dogs? So yes, only me and you care then. And the people who listen these shows. So how come not asking their leaders about Indian Castle? And when I was there, all these people who want Indian Castle from different places, both parties have the great plans for Indian Castle when they get in power and all this different stuff. You see what I'm talking about? These are the evidence I'm talking about. And that's why I keep telling you all the time. If you cannot speak on agriculture, I'm not going to take you serious. You see, they can't talk about agriculture. People can't be fooled, and you can't fool the people on them. The people are watching. They're watching and they're seeing. So the hospital is just one thing on its own. Indian Castle is of any other level because it's food, it's life, it's breathing. You see, and its main purpose is our survival. So how you kill off yourself? That's how we do. We killing off ourselves. It shows we're not serious about our own survival. 40 acres, you know, of food. Put up price on that. Eh? Put up price on that one. Do the calculation and put price on that and tell me how much money going down the drain and which industry they have going to generate more money than 40 acres of food that's fruiting over 3,000 coconut trees. Do the math and tell me which one going to bring more money than that. All them bright now into good school, put all them years of schooling together and tell me much years of school I get. Why get 1,000 years of schooling? Eh? 1,000 years. They cannot. Yes.
How many years? How many years you managed Indian Castle for?
Started the project in 2021 and left in 2023 December.
So about 3 years. Okay. The reason I'm asking, right, is
Yes.
as we're talking about revenue, you have an idea of at least even 2 years, at the end of each year, like what kind of money was generated from Indian Castle. It mightn't be the exact figure, but like a rough idea. You got a rough idea, so that we can say, okay, well, um, here is the 40 acres that you're talking about. Here's what we invested in it. Here's what we have been getting, and if we are supposed to really take it more seriously, here's what more we can be doing. Because okay, I remember when you left, some things as you're talking about might not have been even ready yet. Because for example, like the jelly tree, them didn't start to bear yet. The soursop trees and the shaddock and so on, and these other fruit trees that you put in would not have been, and avocados and mangoes and all these other things that you probably would have planted that is not put in yet. But if you had an idea of what you would have gotten, and then you could have been projecting that, hey, based on what we have here, the harvest
Yes,
in the
son.
next 2 years would have
Yes,
increased
son.
to another, yes.
We get it over 55, so 5,500 coconut trees. I handpick the best out of the bunch, over 1,000. Put them on a truck, send them and sink it, they're dead. Because the minister Jeff was at the same time, so make sure the same project is continued to sink it, so there's no despondency and no, you understand, no feelings. I know how to do things up on a level. So it benefit both sides, and in the next shipment around, then sink it, get maybe the next 3,000, 4,000 put on that. Mr. Collins let them stop then dead. That was one Collins. Just dead, 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 dead. When a young lady who was there taking care of them, and that gone. Okay? Close 1,000 was still sold to general public. Up to one farmer buy up to 300 one time. I make sure it was all inclusive with not just planting these trees on the government estate, but make sure homeowners and farmers be a part of buying these things and selling them cheap also for like $25. You see what I mean? So almost 1,000 was sold to the general public and farmers. They're farmers who have coconut on the farm, fruiting now with the benefit now for. They can pick jelly. So you see the inclusiveness, right? So you almost have a $20,000 they don't come in right there. I mean, I talk about the thousands of watermelon. One open day over 12,000 pounds of watermelon. If you choose one, you can't sell it for $1.50 or $2, whatever it is, and dollar, and money coming in, soil coming in, melon coming in every 3 months, constantly, all the time. No ifs and no buts. So super harvest all the time going to agro processing. You understand? You know, start talk about passion fruit and passion fruit pomegranate. You still got sugar cane. And the list continue to go on and on and on. Winter squash. Down there was a trial, that was just a trial for marketing. Banky, we have some stuff here, some new watermelon seeds, some winter squash. I want you to try them. No problem. We love experimenting with things. Nobody gonna buy them there. Boom, boom, boom. Sell off. Yeah. Oh, the data is there, Virgin. Because I has give report and the evidence is there. You could pull up truckload of watermelon, a street truckload of watermelon. I asked a question to the farmer chief extension officer, Mr. Walcott James, Well, how much watermelon I had to bring in agriculture up and over the years? He told me 2,500 pounds for the 2 days. I was blown away. Yeah, son. I said, that's it? I said, for 2 days? You see what I'm going to show you? Thousands. And these are not. So what I'm doing on my farm is nothing new. I've been doing this over a decade. All the time, shipping food to Monstrat. I believe in planting big. So if I'm planting bell peppers, I'm not planting less than 1,200, 1,500 one time. And got a next set back up every two. After those start the flower back up again, coming in. Consistency. That is how I plant. Once my family on to do the plant, whatever I'm dedicated to, that's what I'm dedicated to, So all me continue to do. I got nothing to do. All I have time for, farm, and represent my people, because that's what I'm representing them. So, and not representing just the people of St. Paul's or St. John's, the whole of Nevis. the whole of St. Kitts, that we're one people. That is how it's supposed to be. I'm representing everybody. You and me, I'm the man who do here. I'm the man who, you understand, the female who do here, the barber and all and different stuff. I'm the electrician, the plumber, the boatman, the fisherman. I'm the regular person. Okay? I'm the tradesman. I'm the carpenter. I'm the tailor. I'm the painter. The regular man. Me not in a class system and not this and all this. No, me not that. Me not about them things. Me not about them things there, son. The class system and the hierarchy system. Me not know nothing about them things there. You see? So, I know how the youth and them stand. We don't tell them, as I interact with people, I tell them, well, I'll be running the next election. And the youth, them understand the problem. You see what I'm show you? Because they have a choice. They got a choice. So, who want to go and ask people where they stand because they figure, well, I didn't know it was that important for people to ask people where they stand. I didn't know that, yeah, son. Me not ask people where they stand. I may tell people what me go do and people don't. You understand? But people ask people where they stand now. No, I mean, so it mean I have some significance. So I appreciate that. You see what I mean? Because people have a choice because themselves know whether there is not the right place. Well, just leave. If you know you're at a place and it's not right, just leave. Because that's just reality. Because my children, them, why is it, we treat them wiser than we, you know? And all we seeing here is separation and division. And you see how the mind game going and how the rhetoric started. And then you say next day, get up and start jump up on them, huff and a puff and a throw water. We're not getting involved in them nonsense there. Them mind games, them the illusion. Man, not do with illusion. So let us keep on with the illusion and continue to pour Kool-Aid, more Kool-Aid in water to more redder, or more blower, or more greener. Man upon them things because we see the water is clear. You understand? We understand that. You just adding in dyes into it. So we see these things. So there are a lot of people and the masses understand these things. And they're tired of it, they're fed up of it. That's the reality. You can't stop what the people want, you know. So let it be known. They're not wowing against me or vexing with me, they're vexing with the people. I don't have energy. I'm not gonna use energy into negative when the same energy you cast my strength gonna be positive, isn't it? If I understand this thing, I expect all these things from these both sides. No mean nothing to me. I expect everything what you're gonna say. That's really I understand. Can I understand the equation and how the universe works? That they can't change. Can the universe choose you? What you got in your head can't mean nothing to me. I understand that you just being yourself. So let our both sides speak about how they feel about Indian castle. While they fight against themselves and who this and who that and whatever, let them speak and how they feel about Indian castle, and we'll sit back and understand and listen to hear what they have to say. That everyone on both sides, if they cannot speak on agriculture, they ain't serious, my virgin. We all have to eat many times. That's the reality. Each area and each individual that represent us. Anybody who tell you they can't talk about agriculture, you cannot take them serious, my virgin, because it's a sacred task. Any religion you come across, they are talking about something. Is the apple that is forbidden fruit? It's eating. You're talking about all the time. You know, eating something about agriculture. Talking about. So it shows.
So,
Agriculture is yes.
In any recent time, have you heard of any like serious meetings with the farmers and stakeholders and so on in relation to this 25 by 25 agenda and the plans forward from the Navy side?
Never.
In relation to
Never. I was never invited to nothing like that. Nothing. You understand? All right.
So
Nothing.
what's the plan? What's the plan for Navy? Like what is it that they have?
Well, from what we understand, they're gonna start talk about the abattoir and the processing area. From what we understand, that's what they're gonna start pushing. It seems like the processing plant that by the abattoir. That I guess they're gonna figure well that is a new thing now. They're gonna start processing meat.
But
I know.
that is only half of the equation. Because even if you
That's the full
zoom
equation.
in
That's the
and
full
give me
equation.
if you
That's the full
zoom in on
equation, man.
agro processing, if you zoom in on agro processing and the abattoir, um, like I said earlier, the abattoir would only be fully effective if there is a liaison with the livestock farmers so that
Of
they
course,
themselves
of course,
can
definitely.
be ready to
Yes, I.
continuously supply. Because when you're seriously thinking about pushing the abattoir, now you're going to be talking about all of these things that you're making, whether it's the frank, the burger patties, the
Of
different kind
course,
of things that you're making and so on. And then when you start to make these and you start to get them into other businesses, or you get in the hotels and restaurants and so on to buy into
up
it.
into the poultry, up into
Usually,
the poultry.
usually, yeah, but usually these things come with contract, or at least
Mm-hmm.
people being able to supply consistently. And so that is why you're going to need to be able to liaise with your farmers, connect with your farmers, help them to get to the level where they could be bringing in certain amount of animals, whether it's weekly or monthly and so on. So they would need that kind of training and assistance and so on. And likewise with the agro processing side as well. For those who are going to be making the product, you need to start to figure out, okay, what products you're going to zoom in on making first. Okay, let's say you say pepper sauce and you create the market for the pepper sauce and so on. So you have to zoom in on the ingredients that you need and start to look at the farmers who are growing these things. If they are not, see who you can get to start to specialize in growing these things and get them to do it with the assurance that, well, when you grow it, we are going to take it off of
Yes,
you at whatever price is arranged and so on. So that you can always have these things, and the farmer now can know, even if it's a backyard gardener, you can now encourage people
yes,
now to get into this different things because you have the need. So you can come to somebody like my mother and say, hey, I just want you to grow herbs, grow as much herbs as you can.
of course.
How much ever you got, bring it in,
Yes,
we're gonna pay you X amount of per bundle or whatever the case may be, a pound or whatever, however you choose to quantify it. Then that farmer knows, okay, I don't have to worry. I just have to grow herbs and carry it into marketing or to agro processing, because
of course.
no care how much I carry, they're going to take it off of me. Likewise, people were making maybe, let's say, lemongrass, because when you get into the processing side, and this is why
Yes,
I am so interested in the agro processing side of things, what is going to happen as a result? You're going to find that you're going to even develop new farmers, and farmers are going to be able to grow things that once
of course.
they never even grew before. So, for example,
Yes,
lemongrass can be a crop that somebody get into because they need the oils extracted to make,
of
whether it's the
course.
soap or the shampoo or the diffusers or
Plus
whatever it is
teas
that
and
they're
all that stuff.
making.
Plus teas, lemongrass tea.
Aloe vera,
Yes,
somebody might could just be going aloe. So you go have an aloe farmer. So things that that probably you might have thought that by, you know, you might find that you can get into it. Somebody might just be growing mint. Somebody might just be growing
yes,
thyme. Somebody might just be growing rosemary. You know, these are things that you know, as you zoom in on some of these industries, you realize how you can then empower. But this will take planning. So it would take, and this is
of
the part.
course.
They would take planning from the technical people to be able to put this in place and then go to the farmer. So that is why I'm saying, even if they zoom in on the agro processing and the abattoir, as I'm saying, that is only part of the equation. They need now to do these other things to ensure that when you spruce up these areas, that then you can be able to meet the demand, the supply the demand that is going to be created. And that marketing side, again, that is going to be critical, because then if you spruce up these areas and then you start to manufacture these things, but then you don't have an outlet to get them out, then so these areas, yes, definitely. I'm hoping that those who are listening to us, paying attention to us, could help us to encourage those who are in authority to zoom in and focus on these things, because we have the ability to make agriculture just as significant financially to the nation as tourism is, and as CBI is, and as all these other foreign investments and other things is. And history have shown us that the Europeans have done it. They would have used our
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean territories to go, whether it's sugar cane, whether it's coffee, whether it's tobacco, whether it's cocoa, whether it's yams, whatever it is that the cassava, whatever it is they use, make their value added product. The problem was then, and this is where as a people have the ability to change that. Then they go the raw material, send the raw material over in their territories and create the value added products and sell it back to you. Now you have the ability because you have the land. So you can go the raw material. You can now invest in the manufacturing equipment to manufacture the things yourself. And then you sell it to them or sell it to others. You use what you need for yourself and sell the others. And I don't see how that should be so hard for us as a people to move towards. But I guess a lot was done in terms of, you know, from the leadership side as well too. Because it was them who shifted us from the agro-based industry and brought us into the tourism and the offshore industry and so on, and got us to the point now where those things were supposed to just be um, areas of diversification, but it ended up being areas of total dependence because we were at a case where now we have pushed agriculture to the point where we import over 90% of what we are utilizing. And
Yes.
depending on foreign exchange from some of these same um, colonial territories that put us in the position that we were in today. And we are selling out the lands and our patrimony to some of them the same way because leadership is not being creative enough and don't see the need to take agriculture and use agriculture as those did to make money and generate revenue and empower their people. So, because these two things can be done with the agriculture industry, you generate money and you empower your people because your people now will become agripreneurs, business people. They can get
Yes,
into
sir.
various areas, and then they would not be dependent on the government for these handouts. They would not be dependent for these, social things, and a lot more young people could and would be gainfully employed and or have their own businesses. So you would have a society where a lot more people, the government itself don't have to try to hire people because you would have people
Yes.
who are creating their own, revenue sources. And these are some of the opportunities that are available if we are supposed to zoom in and focus on agriculture. I am just hoping and praying that, our officials and our people are a whole. So let me not even focus on the officials. I'm hoping that a lot more of our people, and especially young people,
Mm.
I feel proud today that many of the students, many of the young people who are in the agricultural sector right now are former students of mine. I am really proud of that. To know that they would have taken some of the instruction very seriously and recognized some of what I was sharing with them then, and they are now in some of those positions that, if given the opportunity, they can be able to help to shape the direction going forward for agriculture. And so I want to encourage a lot more. I want to encourage those who are in school and even the Ministry of Education to zoom in on agriculture. So I am going to make the quest again for those at the helm in terms of the Ministry of Education to make agriculture, put agriculture on the curriculum for the primary school. I would go as far as preschool, but I'll give you at least to deal with the primary school first. Secondly, make agriculture compulsory in the secondary school system. Just like how English, maths, and history is compulsory, agriculture should be the fourth compulsory subject. Every individual entering high school should do agriculture up to CXC. That should be mandatory. And
Yes,
when
sorry.
you go to CFBC, if you move on to CFBC, that should be one of the subjects that you're required to do, along with whatever post specialized area that you're in. Agriculture should be a part of that. If we are really serious about this 25 by 25 and moving forward, because it starts with training the younger heads.
Yes.
And so
Yes, sorry.
we need to get them involved early. We need to get them to see the various career opportunities early. And so
And
if
that's
we get
why
them,
I
if the
mentioned
person,
earlier.
uh-huh.
That's why I mentioned earlier, Yason, when Minister Jeffers was the Minister of Agriculture and he moved daily from the PS and put him to be in the education office and give and say we want to make you the director of school garden. You should have jumped on that and with his stress up in high in the ear instead of, you understand, looking at it at the
Yes,
motion, because we just see things different.
yeah, well, this is how I am seeing it, Um, we can't just talk about food security and not
Yes.
take some of these actions, because these
Yes.
actions that I'm suggesting would
Yes.
totally demonstrate that you're really
So you going back
serious
into the
about this.
schools. So you going back to the schools. You
Exactly,
that's
so
what
you're
you
going
see.
right back to the
Because that's the
primary
base.
school.
So as an educator,
So
he should have seen these things and know that if you understand, don't feel like you reaching the grassroots right there where everything beginning, And if you are an educator, you should have reached out and use your best potential to make that when somebody do something negative, use that as the positive. Can you hear me keep pushing the school garden and director of schools all the time. It's something to look at. I
yeah,
had taught myself to be in these areas.
well, something need to be done, and I like the idea you suggested in regards to having a greenhouse for the hospitals and
All
areas
the
like those,
schools,
and
of
schools
course.
and hospitals and the
Yes.
infirmary and things like that. The thing that they
Is
would
it right?
argue is that they may need to hire more people and so on. But at the same time, if you're looking at it that way, look at it that you'll be making a savings the same way, because you might hire somebody to work
That's the whole
there,
point.
but now you'll be growing food that you don't have to buy from the supermarket or
That's
buy
it.
from outside anymore. And
And it's
also
fresh.
you'll be assuring the persons who are there getting medical attention that they will be guaranteed healthier food and fresher food, because it's coming straight from the
Yes, man.
garden, straight to the
The
hospital plate
garden
or the
can use
kitchen.
also as a healing for the people, for the patients who are there and them who can come out to work and go in a garden setting to put in benches. You make it look nice and relaxing because it's therapy at the same time. You see what I
Right,
mean? It's therapy. So
right.
and this is what I mean. I always put out and let the Minister of Health know if any ideas or whatever they want. And this staff at the department know what his name. Gary his name is? The gentleman who is the administrator. I'm always available for whatever it is, because we really have to get it right. And inside the hospital, you must have a garden. You have to have a garden with the teas and with the condiments, the
Health and
teas and all the different
agriculture
stuff.
should be tied also to the hip. So you're very correct with that, because nutrition plays a very vital role in health, and agriculture is the basis for your nutrition. And so,
And the last thing I did there at health promotion before when I was in department also, even still at the Indian Castle, still doing a show along with Oceana
Oceana,
O'Loughlin.
yeah,
Yes, along with, and then Michael Henville, the chef, where I will come in and speak on the growing and the type of crop. If I'm talking about tamarind, the origin of tamarind and the family, what is good for how it is grown and all, and pests that would affect it and different stuff. And then Miss Lackley will speak of the health benefit and nutritional value of tamarind. And we did so much, all these different type of crops: cabbage, lettuce, tomatoes, bell pepper, seasoned pepper, everything you can think of, jelly, all kind of stuff. And then Mr. Henville will now go and prepare a meal with these same products that we'll have and show you how to prepare it in the simple way. And all these things should be keep showing. I think it's on YouTube in health promotion, but it need to be shown on NNC, because these are very, very good and nothing like that's ever been done. I done more than 40 or 50 episodes of the show. I can't keep up with them. It's just so
Is
much.
NNC one of the channels shown on the cable TV?
I don't know. I don't think so. Me gonna TV, me gonna cable. I know what shop and what. I'm
Okay.
blind. I'm lost. I can't
I
answer.
am curious. I just asked because I am thinking that NNC by now should have been
Hmm.
like a all day programming thing. Um,
Yeah, of
where
course.
where you could be showing you wouldn't have fresh content all the time, but you have a lot of things that you could be displaying. Some of those shows that you're talking about, all
Yes.
whether it's Calypso Queen shows and other things, and other things that you could use up the time, other shows that can be highlighted and so on,
Hmm.
debates from the high schools and
Of
other
course.
things and so on, just to fill up the gap. Um, I think NNC needs to do that, and I think also another thing that I would suggest in terms of NNC is to be able to have more collaborative work with ZIZ. I find that sometimes that there are things that should be aired nationally. Um, but you don't see it. You might see it on ZIZ, but you don't see it on NNC and or vice versa. I think that they should speak to, with all the technology advancements that we have and so in these times, to try to find a way to collaborate more and do more together. And I think Nevis needs to
Yeah.
step up and make NNC a bit more visible. And the
Yes.
Ministry of Agriculture, um, their PRO team need to be able to find a way to communicate as well with NNC so that they can create more programs similar to what you and Wohan did, and or things that would highlight farmers, what they're doing, maybe highlight a crop, maybe share ideas on how to take care of a crop and not to encourage backyard gardeners, visit a backyard gardener, visit fishermen, talking about fishermen. Sometimes people don't consider the fishermen as farmers, but I really wanna um, send out some um, man. I just feel so terrible about it. But just yesterday, the day before yesterday, somebody broke into my godfather's fishing place down there in the castle, stole his oil, stole his gas, stole his boat, stole his engine. Frankie from Fountain, Frankie Daniel. Veteran fisherman, fishing for
Yes.
over, 60 years.
Of course.
Man who gives back to the community all the time. Like, somebody went there, somebody or bodies went there, stole the boat, so he don't have a boat anymore. He don't have an engine. You know what I mean? Like, and we're talking about food security. So I'm wondering also if anything also can be done, maybe even from the ministry side, to help these people to protect their investment in terms of maybe adding this is CCTV or something in those areas that could help them in that way. Um, because a lot of the times, like the areas that they use are not like fenced and secured like in that way. It's just a little piece of shed
Of
they got
course.
knocked up on the beach. Same thing at Jessup, same thing at most,
It's not lit. It's
Charleston
not
and
lit
so on.
either. It's not
So,
lit. You have no light in there neither.
right. So, things like these, when we're talking about agriculture and agriculture development, it's not just the ground provisions we're talking about. We're also looking out for the fishermen as well. We're looking out for the
Yes.
beekeepers as well. We're looking out for the animal livestock farmers as well. There's so many different areas in agriculture. But if anybody I'm sharing the information now because many might not have known. But if you see that boat Monica anywhere, I posted it on my page yesterday. Um, the boat is called Monica. Number and everything is there. Somebody provided all the information. If anybody happen to see that boat anywhere, and please report it to, and this brings me to another thing again, failure larceny in terms of agriculture, how these things are dealt with and how serious, the authorities move in regards to these things. These are some topics, Banky, that we probably will have to do in the future as well,
Definitely.
because that's one of
Yes.
the things that most farmers suffers from a lot. And in some cases, even when the perpetrators are caught, sometimes the level of punishment that is meted out does not come close to what the farmer loses. And so
Yes.
these are things that we have to look at in terms of helping as we seriously address food security and food sovereignty, and St.
Yes.
Kitts and Nevis. So people, respect the fishermen, respect the beekeepers. If not, you wouldn't be getting your honey. Respect the animal, livestock farmers. Without it, those of you who eat meat and so on, you all wouldn't get your beef, you wouldn't get your pork, you wouldn't be getting clean, mutton, or whatever it is that you make use of, rabbit or whatever it is that you eat. And so you got to pay respect to your livestock farmers. Governments, um, help the livestock farmers. We complain that the animals roaming and so on. What can you do to help them with products that may be fenced, that they could raise the animals, and even if they need to maybe pay a little fee or whatever it is, and they could do rotational grazing or whatever the case may be. We can't just say that there's a problem and don't seek to help with the solution. Help them in whatever way they can. You might say, okay, they should, if they're raising animals, they should have enough money to fence up their own place and so on. Okay, they might not be able to. How can you assist them with that? Because you realize it's a problem. The animals are going to be affecting other people and walking. Sometimes we see them walking around even in the heart of Charleston. Okay, what can you do to help solve them? Can you maybe give them a loan? Maybe you can put in the fencing and tell them, okay, pay a certain amount, until they get paid off or whatever the case may be. How can you help with the situation? These are some of the things that we have to consider as we really look at improving these industries. How can you help the livestock farmer to change his mindset from just subsistence farming, where he sells a sheep when he feel a sheep, or to when he want a little extra money, to raising the sheep and knowing, well, by, based on what you feed the sheep should gain this amount of weight by this age, and then the
Yeah,
mutton
son.
would be, yes.
We're done. We're gonna wrap up in 2 minutes. So wrap up one time. You're gonna have the final
Okay.
say, I guess, basically. Just wanna put out
Yes.
there
So
and then you can go ahead. Just wanna put out the remember this next Saturday coming up, the 25th, we're gonna have the workshop on pest and disease and PPE, personal protective equipment. Come out and support this workshop. You have a special guest, Quincy Bart, who run the quarantine department, who is well versed when it comes to pests and identifying your pests. We'll also have a microscope where